Chapter 2890. Meng Yarrow had been with Lin Yi for a long time, and she'd seen a lot of bloodshed. She wasn't afraid, but she didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Shu's actions. Zhao Qibing was screwed over. At that moment, Uncle Zhu drove back. He got out of the car with the snacks and saw Yushu smashing Zhao Qibing's head. He froze. This is, oh, the food is here. Yushu grabbed the steel rod and ran to Uncle Zhu. She snatched the snacks from his hands and said to Meng Yarrow, Yarrow, we're going to eat. With that, she ran into the villa. Meng Yarrow was helpless. She shrugged at Uncle Zhu, hurry up and get him out of here. Master Bing, he's dead. Uncle Zhu was shocked. He's not dead, he's probably unconscious. Meng Yarrow knew the relationship between Uncle Zhu and Lin Yi, so she didn't guard against him. Uncle Zhu nodded and walked over to check Zhao Qibing's breathing. He breathed out in relief when he realized that Zhao Qibing was still breathing. He quickly brought him to the hidden house. Although Zhao Qibing's head and legs were broken, he was a practitioner after all. He woke up not long after returning to the hidden house. However, he had a splitting headache. His legs weren't the worst, but Yushu's strike on his head was quite ruthless. Even his skull was broken. Old Zhao came as well. He was speechless after hearing Zhao Qibing's story, but he understood how Zhao Qibing felt. It was good that he wanted to train 1,000 legs. It was Yushu's fault for messing with him. Uncle Zhu, on the other hand, wasn't punished. After all, it wasn't his fault. Zhao Qibing was the one who asked Yushu to hit him. It had nothing to do with him. Besides, he was sent out to buy snacks when it happened. You should take a small recovery pill. I'm afraid that it'll leave some side effects, old Zhao sighed and said to Zhao Qibing. But, Grandpa, aren't my legs broken for nothing? I was so close to breaking it. Qibing wasn't willing to give up. Otherwise, he would have taken the pill a long time ago. Uncle Zhu, you should have broken Qibing's leg when he was unconscious. Now that he's awake, there's nothing we can do. Old Zhao said helplessly. But how could I do it under those circumstances? Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. That's true, you're loyal to Qibing, I know that. Forget it, Elder Mion. Give Qibing a small rejuvenation pill first, then we'll make plans. Old Zhao felt that things weren't going well recently, especially with Lin Yi getting stronger and stronger. To the hidden house Zhao, he was always a threat. However, he had no way of killing Lin Yi, and the other hidden houses were waiting patiently. This put him in a difficult position. How could they allow the other hidden families to band together and kill Lin Yi? Old Zhao began to think about the possibility of joining forces. He believed that no matter how strong Lin Yi was, he wouldn't be able to fight against all the hidden houses working together. Lin Yi practiced until night time. He got up and looked at Tu Xiaowang, who wasn't far from him. To Lin Yi, Tu Xiaowang's injuries weren't serious. These injuries were nothing. Lin Yi walked over and grabbed Tu Xiaowang's wrist. He activated the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery and quickly healed Tu Xiaowang's injuries. However, he bypassed Tu Xiaowang's meridians. They were still the same as before. Of course, if it was the old Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to do this with the first stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. However, Lin Yi could use the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery with ease. This wasn't a problem at all. Tu Xiaowang used the Great Recovery Pill to prolong his life, and the nutrients he needed were more than enough. It was just that many parts of his body were damaged, and he couldn't wake up. After Lin Yi healed him, Tu Xiaowang woke up. You! Who are you? Tyrant opened his eyes, shocked as he looked at Lin Yi, who had just let go of his wrist. He didn't know where he was, but all he remembered was that when he hit Nai Pao, he'd been hit back with an even stronger force, knocking him out. Lin Yi said faintly, all right, you're awake now. I should go. Ah. Wait a minute. You saved me? Tu Xiaowang was arrogant, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew how heavily injured he was. He was prepared to die because the Da Huandan didn't work. But now that he had woken up, Tu Xiaowang checked his body's condition. Other than his meridians being broken, he couldn't train. His bodily functions had returned to normal. This meant that someone had saved him. Now, Lin Yi was beside him, but Tu Xiaowang's follower Tu Xiaowang wasn't with him. This meant that Lin Yi must have saved him. Yes, but you don't need to thank me. You're not my follower. I don't have the obligation to save you for free. Your follower Tu Xiaowang already promised me 2 bottles of earth essence as compensation. Lin Yi said, all right, I should go. This. Tu Xiaowang had just woken up. His mind wasn't clear yet, but he could guess that Lin Yi was a master. He wanted to say a few more words to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi wasn't going to talk to him. He could only shut his mouth. Zhong Naipao's lesson this time was quite deep. Tu Xiaowang knew that there was always someone better than him. He didn't dare force Lin Yi, someone who could save him. He needed to understand the situation first. Lin Yi walked out the door, and Tu Xiaowang, who had been waiting anxiously not too far away, came up to him. It was as if he was waiting for a doctor's family. Tu Xiaowang quickly asked, Senior Lin, how is he? Tu Xiaowang. He's alive. Lin Yi said. Then. Is he out of danger? Can I go in now? Tu Xiaowang asked carefully, afraid that he'd do something wrong. Of course, he's inside. You can go in and talk to him. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This isn't an operation, he's still in danger. Chapter 2891. If you're not afraid that he'll kill you, continue. Lin Yi said faintly. That's. Earth's washing realized that he'd gotten a little ahead of himself. He smiled awkwardly. There's no one here, right? Plus, with Senior Lin here, Zhong Naipao wouldn't dare do anything to us, haha. Lin Yi didn't refute it, he only smiled faintly. I'm going back to my room to rest. Bring me the earth essence as soon as possible. Alright, Senior Lin, you should go rest first. Earth's washing had wanted to talk more with Lin Yi, but remembering that Lin Yi had just healed Tu Zhanwang, he must be exhausted. It was normal for him to want to rest, so he didn't dare stop him. Lin Yi nodded and left. Earth Diamond Star, on the other hand, couldn't wait to enter Tuor's room. Young head, are you alright? Zwashing, I'm fine. My body's all recovered, but my meridians are still broken. Tu Zhanwang was alive, but he wasn't in a good mood. That's great. Senior Lin is amazing. He's a man of his words. Earth's washing breathed out in relief after seeing Tu Zhanwang sitting up. Who was the person who saved me before? Tu Zhanwang was very curious about Lin Yi. He didn't really care about anything else. Young master, you're talking about Senior Lin, he. Earth's washing didn't need to hide anything from Tu Zhanwang. He told Tu Zhanwang everything that happened after Tu Zhanwang fainted, including him asking for help with silkworm transformation, finding Lin Yi, and discussing terms with the headmaster. That Senior Lin, why is he so strong? Isn't he afraid of offending Zhong Naipao by saving me? Tu Xiaowang was filled with respect for Lin Yi after hearing the words someone that even his silkworm transformation couldn't handle had to be a master. It was just that he'd made an enemy out of Zhong Naipao for no reason, and it wasn't worth it. There's something else I didn't go into. Senior Lin and Zhong Naipao are enemies, and those Mo Ba and Mo Ju by Naipao's side are all gone, one dead, one injured. It was all done by Senior Lin. Earth's washing explained, Zhong Naipao doesn't even dare to fart, evidently afraid of Senior Lin. So, Senior Lin doesn't need to worry about him. So strong. Tu Zhanwang didn't expect Lin Yi to be this strong. He was a black horse in this test. Which sect is he from? He's a rogue cultivator. Earth Diamond Star said, but I heard that a few direct disciples of the ancient era are his underlings. Sigh, our Yellow Earth High sect doesn't have any relationship with him. If only the young sect master was his underling, he would even be able to repair your meridians. It's just that, unless it's someone related to him, he wouldn't waste any effort to help. If it's someone unrelated to him, he wouldn't help no matter what conditions he offers. We paid 2 bottles of the earth element essence this time, and all we got in return was to bring you back to life, young master. Freelancer. There were even minions from the ancient era. He can even repair my meridians. Tu Zhanwang was completely shocked. This person didn't sound like a normal freelancer at all. All his followers were from an ancient sect, and they were omnipotent. This was almost on the same level as 5 Elements sect. Yes, that's what the silkworm transformation young master said. It can't be false. Earth's washing nodded, As for meridians, I had my suspicions before, but the Great Master didn't. Perhaps he knows something. So, as long as I call him boss, he'll help me repair my meridians. Tu Zhanwang suddenly remembered what Lin Yi said before he left. You're not my follower. I don't have the obligation to save you for free. Didn't that mean that if he became his follower, Lin Yi would repair his meridians for free? With that thought, Tu Zhanwang was a little excited. He wasn't calling Lin Yi boss just to repair his meridians. The main thing was that with a boss like Lin Yi, at least people like Zhong Naipao wouldn't dare hit him anymore. Plus, Lin Yi was so strong, and would become the biggest helper of Yellow Soil sect in the future. Calling him boss was a very good deal, but Tu Zhanwang was a little worried about his uncle's attitude. After all, he was the young master of an ancient sect, and calling Lin Yi boss wasn't a big deal right now, but once he took over the position, wouldn't the entire Yellow Soil sect be Lin Yi's follower? That should be the case, but I'm afraid that Senior Lin won't take you in. Tu Zhanxing smiled bitterly. Even Tu Qingsong was hinting for him to make things happen between Tu Zhanwang and Lin Yi. Lin Yi was really capable, otherwise the sect master wouldn't have said that. But this way, it wouldn't be easy to call Lin Yi boss. Lin Yi had said that he had enough followers already, and wouldn't take in just anyone. It seemed like there needed to be an opportunity. Pester me with soft and hard tactic. Plus, didn't he ask for the essence of the earth element? He doesn't know how to use it, and only my uncle and I know this secret, so if he wants to know, I'll have to tell him myself. After a while, we'll get familiar, and I'll take the chance to call him boss, Tu Zhanwang said, but what I'm worried about is, how do I explain this to my uncle? Tu Zhanwang admired absolute masters, especially when Lin Yi defeated Zhong Naipao. He was only worried about his uncle's side. That's fine. Tu Zhanxing nodded. You don't have to worry too much about the headmaster. He's already said that you can get closer to Senior Lin, young master. Everything is up to you. Oh, did uncle really say that? Tu Zhanwang wasn't stupid. He understood immediately, but he was a little surprised with his uncle's personality. Why would he agree? Even if it was to heal his meridians, it wouldn't be that easy, right? Yes, if you don't believe me, you can call the headmaster. Tu Zhanxing nodded. There's no need for that. Why would I doubt your words? Tu Zhanwang waved his hand. He was just a little confused, but he didn't doubt Tu Zhanxing's words at all. He'd been with him for so many years, and he'd always been loyal. Chapter 2892. Now. Tuo Xiaowang shook his head, a bitter smile on his face. Mr. Lin's acting like he doesn't want anyone to disturb himself after saving me. He just said a few words and left, as if he didn't want to talk to me anymore. Then what do we do? Tuo Xiaowang realized for the first time that making a young master of an ancient sect acknowledge a freelancer as his boss was a difficult thing. The difficulty didn't lie with the young master of the ancient sect, it lay with the freelancer. When is the person delivering the essence coming? Tuo Xiaowang asked after some thought. Should be tomorrow. He's taking a private jet, so it shouldn't be long, Tuo Xiaowang said. Yeah, tomorrow then. I'll explain to Senior Lin how to use the essence when it's delivered, and we'll see what his attitude is like when I call him boss, Tuo Xiaowang said. Sounds good, Tuo Xiaowang nodded. After leaving Tuo Xiaowang's room, Lin Yi didn't go back to his own room. He went to young Chichi's room and knocked on the door. Chichi was talking to Lil Nine on the phone when the knocking came. Who would be knocking at a time like this? Didn't Lin Yi go treat Tuo Xiaowang? Who is it? Chichi asked. It's me, Lin Yi said. Ah. Chichi quickly lowered her voice when she heard Lin Yi's voice. Lil Nine, are ye bros here? Let's talk later. I'll go open the door. Yeah. Lil Nine was a little dejected. She wanted to let Chichi give the phone to Lin Yi, but thinking about it, what could she say if she gave the phone to Lin Yi? These years, her relationship with Lin Yi had become very distant, and it was just the kind of conversation between teammates. She didn't know what to say when she actually picked up the phone. Chichi opened the door and blushed when she saw Lin Yi. Are ye bro, you're here? Yeah, I just came out of Tuo Xiaowang's room, so I stopped by. Lin Yi said, my name is Lin Yi now, Yi and Eagle are just code names. You can call me by my current name. I'm not really used to Yi. Sure. Chichi liked Lin Yi as a person, not the name IE. It didn't matter what Lin Yi was called, he was still that childhood friend in her heart. But Lin Yi bro, Your room's over there, and Tuor's on the other side. It's not like you're going in the same direction. Lin Yi didn't know what. Lin Chichi felt a bit embarrassed. Lin Xiaowang. Xiaowang Yi's face. Lin Yi didn't mean it, but it made Chichi's heart skip a beat. A flash of shyness appeared on her cool face. Is that so? Xiao Qi's so happy. Yeah, there's something even happier. The Earth Essence is coming, and there's 2 bottles. The Yellow Earth sect promised to send them over as soon as possible. Lin Yi said. Really? Chichi was very excited. Lin Yi bro, you healed that Tuor Xiaowang? They're so easygoing, Lil Ju can finally be saved. Not yet, he's just alive, but his meridians are still broken. Lin Yi shook his head. But they're already very happy. That's all. Chichi was a bit surprised. Wasn't the Yellow Earth sect a little too easy to deal with? She just didn't know how important Tuor Xiaowang was to them. Yeah, you should tell the 9th princess about this later. Let her be happy. Lin Yi came here to cheer Chichi and Lil Ju up. Lin Yi bro, why don't you call her yourself? You have her contact anyway. Chichi said. You know that I'm in contact with her? Lin Yi was a bit surprised his contact with Lil Ju was one way. This was the rule of the assassin organization. Logically speaking, Chichi shouldn't know, but you're an assassin from the assassin group, right? As long as it's an assassin on a mission, they're all connected to Lil Ju. It's just that a lot of people don't know each other, but Lin Yi bro definitely knows who Lil Ju is. I forgot about that. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. Then. You won't blame me for not going back and contacting you, will you? Of course not. Father said that an assassin shouldn't contact his teammates with his original identity after a mission. If something happens to one person, it'll affect the others. That's why Lil Chi hasn't made up her mind to look for Lil Yi bro. Chichi shook her head. Who would have thought that fate would allow Lil Chi to meet Lil Yi bro again? But now it seems that you're no longer an assassin, Lin Yi bro. You've stepped into the world of practitioners. Yeah, assassins are only limited to the common world. In fact, if it weren't for some people and things, I might never have had anything to do with the world of practitioners in this lifetime. But the people and things around me forced me to go against the flow and step into a higher plane. I don't cause trouble for them, but they cause trouble for me and the people around me. Lin Yi said. Just like this time, if it weren't for my name in the world of practitioners, no matter how much help Tian Chan gave us, there'd be no way the Yellow Earth sect would have handed over 2 bottles of the essence so willingly. That's true, I didn't think that Lin Yi bro would be this strong, no matter what you do. You've made a name for yourself in the world of practitioners. Lil Chi will follow Lin Yi bro from now on. Chichi was even happier that Lin Yi had become stronger than her. Lin Yi knew Chichi's personality very well. She looked cold and cool on the outside, but she was actually a girl who looked strong on the outside but was actually very fragile on the inside. She wasn't suited to be an assassin, and it was due to her parents that she started training as an assassin at a young age. Her path wasn't because she liked it. At first, Chichi was a bit against it, but after getting to know him, Lin Yi could feel that Chichi was training for him, and now, she was fighting for Lil Nine. In the Ice Palace trial, in the practitioner's market, Chichi had cried, showing the fragile side of her heart. Under this cool facade, Chichi's strength came from a stubborn belief. Chapter 2893. This was a feeling that Lin Yi understood very well. Lin Yi had been through this before, after all. Those backgrounds in the common world, on the other hand, were quite useful in the common world. For example, at House Kang's birthday banquet, dealing with normal houses that weren't even considered noble houses. But at the noble house level, those backgrounds were useless. This was also why Lin Yi had always been envious of people with good mentors. Even people like Kang Ming Ming and Zhong Naipao, who weren't important at all, had sky-class strength. How the hell did a hard-working practitioner like Lin Yi feel? But what could he do? He was tall, rich, and handsome, with a good master. Pills were like candy to him, and Lin Yi, on the other hand, had to go through a lot of hardships just to get one, and he was almost trapped under the cliffs of Wushuang Mountains during the test. It was a feeling of helplessness. But Lin Yi, on the other hand, had overcome all of this with much difficulty, finally standing at the peak of existence. Of course, all of this was thanks to the jade space and that damned thing, or else Lin Yi would have died a long time ago. As for Chi-Chi, Lin Yi patted her shoulder. Xiao Qi, you can tell others that you're my sister from now onwards. Normally, no one would go out of their way to cause trouble for you. In this test, Lin Yi could see that he was in a very delicate position. No one dared to mess with him, or rather, no one wanted to mess with him, because the consequences would be too severe. This was why Lin Yi and Zhong Naipao were able to coexist peacefully. Especially after the incident with Zhong Naipao got out, Lin Yi's name was like thunder in the ears of the ancient practitioners. Sure, Yi bro used to protect me, and now he's protecting me again. Can I do whatever I want in the ancient level? Chi-Chi asked happily. You can bully the people who bullied you again. For example, tomorrow morning, you can occupy a few tables and stop them from eating, Lin Yi said. Okay. Lin Yi suggested casually, but Chi-Chi seemed to be paying attention. When Lin Yi got back to his room, Chi-Chi happily called Ju. The people from the Yellow Earth sect came quickly. It was unknown if Tu Qingsong had specially arranged it. In short, this disciple of the Yellow Earth sect arrived at the Heavenly Elixir sect in the early hours of the next day. It seemed that the power of the Yellow Earth sect was not weak. The private plane could take off at any time. Good timing. When Tu Ba Wang saw that the disciples of the Yellow Earth High sect had arrived, he was instantly overjoyed. He understood the principle of striking while the iron was hot, but if he didn't have anything in his hands, why would he strike the iron? He needed to be strong, didn't he? And so, after Tu Ba Wang got the essence, he came to the inn's restaurant early, ready to have a chance encounter with Lin Yi. He'd then talk to Lin Yi about the essence, and after the meal, he'd go to Lin Yi's room or his own room to talk about it. When it came to the point of worship, he'd just kneel down and call him boss, and everything would be fine. Of course, Tu Ba Wang's idea was good, but he noticed something strange when he came to the restaurant. All the practitioners who came here to eat were walking out of the restaurant with their lunchboxes, and not eating in the restaurant. This made Tu Ba Wang very confused. Normally speaking, practitioners here didn't have the habit of eating in their rooms. There were no full-time waiters here, and the trash from eating in their rooms had to be taken care of by themselves. Everyone thought it was troublesome, and they could leave after eating in the restaurant. What was going on today? Why was everyone taking takeout? He was about to ask someone when he raised his head to see Zhong Naipao walking out of the restaurant with a depressed look on his face. In his hands was a takeout as well. At the same time, Naipao saw Tu Ba Wang as well. He froze. He knew how heavily injured Tu Ba was. How did this guy get better? How could he walk? Wasn't he unconscious? But, as confused as Naipao was, he didn't plan on asking anymore. He only looked at Tu Ba Wang once before leaving in a hurry. Naipao's weird actions made Tu Ba Wang a little puzzled. Why was Naipao acting like he didn't see him at all? He was the one who hit him, but he was here, perfectly fine. Couldn't he ask a few questions? In fact, Tu Ba Wang did want Naipao to ask a few more questions after all. If Naipao wanted to cause trouble for him, Lin Yi would probably step in and interfere. He'd just been healed by Lin Yi, so how could he let Naipao do whatever he wanted? This had to do with the face of a practitioner. He shook his head. If Naipao didn't cause trouble, he wouldn't provoke him. Lin Yi wasn't an idiot, either. Him provoking Naipao and getting hurt again were two different situations. Tuo Xiaowang hadn't even stood still when he heard an arrogant girl's voice. All the tables in this restaurant belong to me now. You're not allowed to eat here. Lin Yi bro and I are going to enjoy our time together. You guys buy food and go eat outside. The voice belonged to young Chi-Chi. Of course she'd bought some food and wanted to find a place to sit down when these practitioners chased her away with a cold glare. This time, young Chi-Chi was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Anyone who wanted to eat here was kicked out. Of course, some of them were innocent bystanders. Chi-Chi didn't go to their table when she came, or they had already finished eating and left, not meeting Chi-Chi at all. But they didn't dare say anything. Young Chi-Chi and the others didn't know where they came from, but Lin Yi and the others did. This Lin Yi was the one who swept through the Sky Elixir Sect's test, and even Naipao wasn't his match. Didn't they see Naipao leave after buying breakfast? Who else could be a match for Lin Yi? Thinking that it was better to avoid trouble, they all left after buying breakfast. 2BA Wang, on the other hand, couldn't help but smile bitterly at young Chichi's domineering. This person was obviously very close to Lin Yi, and 2BA Wang couldn't afford to piss him off. But he didn't want to leave just like that. At the same time, his admiration for Lin Yi went up another level. Seeing was believing, and he'd heard about how strong Lin Yi was from Tu Zhenxing. All he saw was Lin Yi's medical skills, but he didn't know much about Lin Yi's strength. Chapter 2894. At that thought, Tuo Xiaolong was excited. So strong. What kind of ancient sect could be this strong? They didn't even say anything, just a little girl, and these people wouldn't dare eat here. Tuo Xiaolong's imagination was running wild. If it were him instead of Chichi, it'd be so much more fun and pretentious. He stood at the entrance of the restaurant and spoke to the participants, especially Naipao. All the tables in this restaurant belong to me now. You're not allowed to eat here. I have some things to discuss with Boss Lin Yi, so you guys buy your food and go eat outside. Waha, he was excited just thinking about it. Tuo had always been someone who liked to show off, and he didn't have many bad intentions. He just liked the feeling of being looked up to, and having Lin Yi as his boss could sweep away all the frustrations he'd faced before. Oi! All the tables in this restaurant belong to me now, you're not allowed to eat here. Chem. Chichi was just about to shoo Tuo Xiaolong away when she saw that it was Tuo Xiaolong. She changed the topic immediately. You're Tuo Xiaolong? Yeah, sis, I'm actually Boss Lin Yi's friend as well. I'm his patient, so do you think I can eat here? Tuo Xiaolong asked carefully, his face thick. You? Chichi turned to Lin Yi. He was the one who gave little Nine the essence, but whether or not he could sit here was up to Lin Yi. Chichi didn't dare make the decision herself. Oh, Tuo Xiaolong, you're recovering pretty fast? You're here to give me the essence, aren't you? Lin Yi estimated the time. If Huang Tu had been a bit faster, it should be about time. Yeah, Boss Lin Yi is amazing, you know what I'm here for. Tuo Xiaolong said as he ran over to Lin Yi and sat down. Outside the restaurant, the cultivators who had not left all had strange expressions on their faces. Firstly, they were surprised that Earth Overlord had woken up. Secondly, he actually said that he was Lin Yi's patient. Could it be that Lin Yi had cured him? How was this possible? Wasn't Earth Tyrant's injuries so severe that even a third-grade great cyclic pill had no effect on it? How could it be better? Of course, even though these people were puzzled, they didn't dare to ask. Why are you calling me boss? You are also not my little brother. Lin Yi glanced at local overlord and said indifferently. Lin Yi's expression didn't show anything special, but he had some doubts in his heart. The local tyrant actually wanted to recognize him as his boss so soon. What prompted him to make such a quick decision? He had only healed the injuries on his body and did not repair his meridians. Moreover, this was only a transaction. He had healed him and he had also paid the earth essence. It was extremely fair. Moreover, even if there was Tian Chan's mediation, it was impossible for an ancient sect's young master to make a decision so easily. Feng Shipian and Li Siba, on the other hand, had recognized him as their boss after witnessing his strength under special circumstances. Tuo, on the other hand, was different. He didn't understand why he'd come to him. Was it just to repair his meridians? However, Lin Yi knew that he was a very good judge of character. Lin Yi didn't see any utilitarian intentions in Earth Tyrant's eyes. On the contrary, he seemed to admire him very much. What was he admiring? Moreover, he had Earth Diamond Star by his side. If he casually recognized him as his boss, wouldn't Earth Diamond Star report to their sect master? Boss, I can't express my gratitude in words. Boss Lin Yi healed my injuries and brought me back to life. It was like I was reborn. So, Boss Lin Yi is like a second parent to me. However, if I call Boss Lin Yi godfather, you definitely won't recognize me as your son. So, I'll settle for the next best thing, and call you boss. Earth Tyrant said, what do you think? Of course, this is just a title. In my heart, you're my boss. It doesn't matter if you recognize me as your little brother or not. You're my idol, and I'm your fan. Phut. Cough cough. Lin Yi didn't expect Earth Tyrant to come up with such a fallacious argument. Godfather. He really dared to call him that. However, Lin Yi could also see that this kid was sincere when he said these words. Therefore, even if Lin Yi was puzzled, his expression still softened. He nodded and said non-committally, "Where's the Earth Essence?" "Aya, I was so focused on talking that I forgot about the important matter. The Earth Essence is here." As he said this, Earth Tyrant carefully took out 2 very small bottles from his pocket and placed them in front of Lin Yi. Such a small bottle? Lin Yi looked at the pocket-sized bottles in front of him, a little speechless. "Ooh. This small bottle is actually just enough for one use," Earth Tyrant explained awkwardly. The Earth Overlord explained somewhat awkwardly, "There is not a lot of this thing. The Earth Attribute Essence liquid is stored in a special way. Once the bottle is opened, it has to be used immediately. It will lose its effect after 3 days. Hence, it would be a waste to store more. So that's how it is." Lin Yi nodded and thought that this was similar to the spring water that old Lin and Gauden drank at home. Once the spring water was taken out, it would lose its effect after a period of time. "Yes." Earth Tyrant nodded and asked, "Boss Lin Yi, what do you want to do with this Earth Essence?" "The way to use this Earth Essence is a secret of our Yellow Earth High Sect. Only my uncle, the current leader, and I know about it. Even Earth Diamond Star doesn't know about it. Of course, Boss Lin Yi isn't an outsider, so it doesn't matter if you know about it." Lin Yi heard Earth Tyrant's words and thought it was funny. This guy was trying to get information out of him so that he would accept him as a follower. Of course, Lin Yi accepting Earth Tyrant wasn't a problem. Right now, Lin Yi basically didn't care about the Hidden House's power anymore. The next step would be the ancient powers. An additional follower would be an additional helper, so naturally, Lin Yi was happy to do so. However, this boss Earth Tyrant was suspicious. Lin Yi had to figure out this person's purpose and character first. "I have a friend who has too much Earth element in his body, and he can't control or guide it. He needs the Earth Essence and parts of an Earth Spirit beast to treat him." Lin Yi didn't hide anything. After all, he had to explain this clearly to Earth Tyrant so that he could take the right medicine. Chapter 2895. This situation stunned Tu Jun. His eyes widened as he looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. "Boss Lin Yi, are you serious? Why would I lie to you about something like this? Why else would I ask you for the essence?" Lin Yi frowned. He didn't know what kind of expression Tyrant had on his face. Was it that surprising? "No, Boss Lin, don't misunderstand. What I mean is, I thought that you had an Earth Element friend who went crazy during training and needed the essence of the Earth Element to mediate, but now it seems that's not the case. The situation you're talking about is very likely the Earth Element inheritor that our Yellow Earth High Sect has been looking for. The situation you described is exactly the same as the Earth Element inheritor," Tu Xiaowang quickly explained. "Earth Element inheritor?" Although old Lin had mentioned this before, he wasn't very sure. Now that Tu Xiaowang had mentioned it, it was basically certain that Little Nine was the so-called Earth inheritor. At the thought, Lin Yi couldn't help but be wary. One had to know that the moment Xiao Xiao became the inheritor, Lin Yi wasn't very willing. Miss Rock Candy said that the inheritor had to do something dangerous. Xiao Xiao going to the Ice Palace and becoming an inheritor was something Lin Yi didn't want, but Little Nine was something Lin Yi couldn't just let go of so easily. And so, Lin Yi said calmly, "I just want to know how to use this essence. As for the inheritor or not, I don't care. My friend won't be an inheritor." That's. Tu Jun realized that he was being a bit too emotional. This was Lin Yi, not anyone else. There was no way he could control the will of the person in front of him, so 2BA could only smile bitterly. "Boss Lin, it's like this. If that person's condition is as you say, using the essence of the Earth Element as a catalyst, along with the parts of the Earth Element Sky-class spirit beasts can provide the greatest amount of relief, but there's a flaw in doing so. The Earth Element in your friend's body will disappear, and his body will become extremely weak. Even if you can extend his life, he won't be able to live for long. He'll die within 10 or 20 years. What you're saying, is that true?" Lin Yi was a bit surprised. Two Tyrant's words were very similar to what Miss Crystal Candy said back in the Ice Palace. Lin Yi wanted to give Xiao Xiao the fire spirit's fruit, but Miss Crystal Candy stopped him, and now Two Tyrant was saying the same thing. Of course, I wouldn't lie to my respected boss Lin Yi. 2 June. He sighed, I won't hide it from boss Lin Yi, but I came from the west to Central Plains not only to participate in the Sky Elixir sect's test, but also to find an Earth element inheritor to bring back to our Yellow Earth sect. Two Tyrant had another reason for coming here, and that was to find his cousin, Tu Ranran. However, his uncle, Tu Qingsong, had specifically told him that the matter back then was a little complicated, and that he had to be careful with his words. He couldn't mention it to anyone else, so he didn't even mention it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi nodded. With the experience from last time in the Ice Palace, Lin Yi didn't think that 2BA was lying to him. Little Nine's situation might really be as he said. He was an Earth element inheritor, and had to accept the inheritance. Other than accepting the inheritance, is there no other way to solve the problem? Lin Yi didn't want to give up. Like what kind of arts? It might be possible if they trained from a young age, but from the looks of it, even if they're younger than you, senior Lin Yi, they wouldn't be much younger, right? In terms of time, it's too late, at least not for us Earth element cultivators. Tu Xiaowang shook his head and said with certainty, I won't hide it from you, boss. If there was a solution, then the direct descendants of our Yellow Earth High School wouldn't be so few in number. Now, only my uncle and I are left. This is also why my uncle easily agreed to use the Earth essence in exchange for my life because everyone in my family has left. Oh. Lin Yi was a bit shocked. 2 June. His family were all dead. Of course, Lin Yi didn't doubt that 2 June. He only needed to ask Ji Xian to know if it was true. Don't be surprised, Boss Lin. Our family's bloodline is actually the same as the bloodline you're talking about. There's a large amount of Earth elements in our bodies, and we have to train in the Yellow Earth High Sect's arts from a young age. Before 20, we have to step into Sky Class, or we'll face death. At that point, we need to use the essence of the Earth element and the body parts of an Earth element Sky Class spirit beast to alleviate the effects, but the effects vary from person to person. At most, it's 10 to 20 years of life. Tu Junwang said, but a Sky Class before 20 years of age. A sect can only raise 1 or 2 at a time, even if they do their best. After all, there's a limit to how many pills we can accumulate. It's just like how the Everyday sect focuses on Zhong Naipao, while our Yellow Earth High sect focuses on me. But, can't you guys become inheritors? Then why don't you accept the inheritance? Lin Yi asked curiously. The inheritors are all female. Male cultivators are unable to accept and comprehend the inheritance and cannot become inheritors. Our Yellow Earth High sect's bloodline is very special. Our descendants are all male. If we want to give birth to a daughter, we have to use a very complicated method. We have to spend a lot of energy and treasures in order to produce a female descendant. This is specially done to cultivate cultivators, said Earth Overlord. Then, why don't you guys get a female descendant to accept the inheritance? Lin Yi asked curiously. Yes. My uncle has a daughter, and she's also my cousin. This is something to be happy about, but 2 June. He suddenly realized that he'd said too much. In front of Lin Yi, he didn't have his guard up, and accidentally spilled the beans. What's wrong? Lin Yi saw that 2 June. He was confused. I'm sorry, Boss Lin Yi, this is a family secret. I accidentally said too much. Tu Xiaowang said a little embarrassedly. Anyway, you just need to know that we tried, but we didn't succeed. Chapter 2896. That's not it. The success I mentioned before meant that there were other problems. Your friend will definitely be fine. By the way, is your friend a woman? Tu Xiaowang suddenly realized that he had overlooked the most important question, which was the gender of Lin Yi's friend. Was it a man or a woman? She's a woman. Lin Yi nodded. That is to say, after my friend goes there, she will definitely be able to receive the inheritance. That's right. Tu Xiaowang nodded. This is more effective than the Earth Essence liquid and the things on the Heaven Stage Earth Spirit Beasts, and there is no danger. Then, is there any requirement for becoming an inheritor? For example, do you need to do one thing? Lin Yi nodded and continued to ask. Boss Lin Yi, you also know about that plan? Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised and lowered his voice. In his opinion, it was impossible for Lin Yi to have access to the core secrets of that level. Even if Lin Yi was the boss of several direct descendants of the ancient sects, those sects were not one of the main participants of that plan. The Holofist Palace was not one of them, and neither was the ancient Feng family. They only knew about the future Heaven Stage Island plan, but they definitely did not know what these inheritors were used for, nor did they know what these inheritors would do. Yes, my concubine is called Feng Xiaoxiao, the deputy palace master of Ice Palace, and also one of the inheritors. Lin Yi nodded. So it is not surprising that she knows about this. What? Boss Lin Yi's concubine? Tu Xiaowang was stunned. He did not believe that Lin Yi's wife was the deputy palace master of Ice Palace, let alone a concubine. After all, Ice Palace was one of the most powerful sects among the ancient sects. The Heavenly Elixir sect once wanted to harm it, but they did not dare to do so. The deputy palace master of such a sect that even the everyday sect did not dare to cause trouble was actually Lin Yi's concubine. But thinking about it, it was normal. The everyday sect also did not dare to do anything to Lin Yi. Didn't the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, the Heavenly Silkworm transformation, also say that he had no confidence in dealing with Lin Yi? Furthermore, Tu Overlord felt that there was no need for Lin Yi to lie to him. After a moment of shock, he said in admiration, "Boss is indeed the boss. You are not on the same level as us young sect masters. You are already on the same level as the sect masters and palace masters of the various ancient sects." Lin Yi ignored Tu Wang's flattery and asked, "First, tell me, are the earth element legatees going to do dangerous things in the future?" This. Boss, don't you know? It's the same as what an ice-type inheritor has to do. Tu looked at Lin Yi strangely. How could he not know? Do you think she would tell me if there was any danger and make me worry? Lin Yi asked. That's true. Tu didn't know about the things Lin Yi had done before. He thought that Xiaoxiao became the vice palace master and became an inheritor, and then met Lin Yi and became Lin Yi's wife. That made sense. Xiaoxiao didn't want Lin Yi to worry, so naturally, she wouldn't tell him the details. She didn't want Lin Yi to worry, but Tu was still a little confused. Why didn't she hide the fact that she's an inheritor? Wouldn't that make you less curious, boss? Inheritors can't lose their chastity. Do you think you should tell me? Lin Yi was trying to confuse right and wrong. Naturally, Tu wouldn't be able to see through it. I forgot about that. Haha, I see. Tu understood. Xiaoxiao was Lin Yi's wife, but she didn't want Lin Yi to push her down. She had to explain the reason, and so, Tu nodded, but still tried to probe. It's like this. Boss Lin Yi should know about that place, right? 5 Elements School? Lin Yi asked. That's right, 5 Elements School. Earth Tyrant no longer had any doubts, and directly said, "This plan has been prepared for 1,000 years. The goal is to let a peak late-stage Heaven Stage Great Perfection cultivator set foot on the Heavenly Tao. The plan is actually very simple: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, mist, and ice inheritors, along with a 5-element practitioner as a medium to open up Sky-class Island. In truth, that's all I know. There will definitely be dangers during the process of opening, but compared to the rewards, these dangers are nothing. These inheritors and mediums all have the chance to go to Heaven Rank Island and become elites in the Tao of Heaven. Which of us cultivators doesn't want to step into that realm? I see, but what about the specific process? Lin Yi continued to ask. This wasn't too different from what Lin Yi knew. The mediums were obviously Tagan Long and Tian Chan. But these 2 mediums couldn't be used anymore. What was 5 Elements School going to do? I don't know the specifics. That place isn't public, and we can't just ask. Although, as one of the leading sects, they only get a spot to step into Sky-class Island. In fact, 5 Elements School is the most important part. Tu said. What you said is about the same as what I know. It's all unimportant stuff. I don't know what the specific dangers are. Lin Yi shrugged. Only a few people in 5 Element School know about this. We can't do anything about it. 2BA said helplessly. If I could find out, I would have done it already. Well, in that case, I'll think about it and give you an answer. I'm not in a hurry to know how to use this earth essence. You go back to your room and wait for a while. Lin Yi said to 2BA. Okay, Boss Lin Yi, I'll go back first. I'll also go back and ask my uncle to see if he knows more. 2BA said respectfully. You haven't eaten breakfast yet? Tuo Xiaowang had been talking to Lin Yi after he came in. He even forgot to eat breakfast, so Lin Yi reminded him. Tuo Xiaowang, Tuo Xiaowang. Ah. It's fine if I don't eat, but if boss wants me to eat, I'll eat a little. 2BA said and waved to Tu Zhenxing, who was standing at the entrance of the dining hall. Hurry up and buy breakfast. Boss has rewarded me with breakfast with him. Lin Yi was a bit speechless. This Tuo Wang was quite a talent after all, but now it seemed that other than the fact that he liked to show off a little, he didn't have any other flaws. Showing off wasn't a flaw, either, since it was normal to show off when one had the strength. Chapter 2897. But she couldn't ask in the dining room with Tuo there. Now that they were in the room, she quickly asked, Lin Yi bro, what did Tuo say about the inheritor? Lil 9. She's that inheritor. Inheritor, I don't know much about it. Do you want to ask Xiao Xiao about it? Lin Yi saw the light in Chichi's eyes and understood what she was thinking. No, I'm just a little curious. Big bro Lin Yi's mistress, is it that girl Lin Yi bro was carrying that time in Ice Palace? How did she become the vice leader of Ice Palace? Chichi was a little embarrassed that Lin Yi had hit the nail on the head. Haha, I'll tell you then. Lin Yi nodded and told Chichi about how he met Xiao Xiao, as well as the problem with her body, and how she went to the Ice Palace. You know what happened after that? I went to the Ice Palace to ask for the medicine, but when I met the sect leader, Crystal Candy, something unexpected happened. Lin Yi told Chichi about what happened in the Ice Palace, and she couldn't help but be amazed. She didn't think that Xiao Xiao would have this sort of coincidence, becoming the vice leader and inheritor of Ice Palace. But this was a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The good thing was that Xiao Xiao was saved, but the bad thing was that Xiao Xiao had to stay here and do things that she couldn't do. Chichi could feel the helplessness in Lin Yi's voice. Back then, Lin Yi wasn't as strong as he was now. He didn't have the ease to deal with ancient sects. Of course, even now, Lin Yi wasn't much in the eyes of the Ice Palace. First, the Ice Palace was stronger than the Yellow Earth High Sect. Second, the Ice Palace didn't need anything from Lin Yi. Saving Xiao Xiao and letting her accept the legacy was an exchange. Lin Yi making Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill for Xiao Xiao didn't really matter to the Ice Palace. Even if he didn't, Xiao Xiao would still be the inheritor, and Bingtang would still get a share of the pie in Sky-class Island's plan. Hence, this was also the reason why Rock Candy didn't put Lin Yi in her eyes. And so, Lin Yi had no choice but to let Xiao Xiao stay in the Ice Palace. There was no other way. Big bro Lin Yi, Xiao Qi believes that you can successfully make the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill and give it to the Ice Palace to get Xiao Xiao sis back, Chichi encouraged as she looked at Lin Yi. She had always been very confident in Lin Yi. Haha, I'll work hard. I'm prepared to get an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill for this Sky Elixir test, but I don't know if the Sky Elixir sect will set any obstacles. Lin Yi's relationship with the Sky Elixir sect wasn't very good right now, especially with Kang Mingming there. That guy was the 8th elder, after all. If he said a few bad things about him in front of the head and young master of the Sky Elixir sect, the impression the Sky Elixir sect had of him would plummet. Plus, with his relationship with the 5 Elemental School, would the Sky Elixir sect really make him an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill? Lin Yi didn't think that it was possible, but he had to try. Let's not talk about that for now. Let's talk about Xiao Ju. Xiao Ju's situation is similar to Xiao Xiao's, but there's a difference. Xiao Xiao only needs to practice the Ice Palace's arts and she can avoid death, but Xiao Ju is different. Xiao Ju must accept the inheritance to be able to live forever. Lin Yi said worriedly, but it's very dangerous for Xiao Ju to do that. This is a difficult problem. No matter what, We should ask for Xiaoju's opinion first. All right, then. I'll call her. Chichi said after some thought. Yes, you talk to her. Lin Yi nodded. The first thing Tu Zhenxing and Tu Zhenxing did after returning to their room was to call the sect. This was a call from Tu Zhenxing himself. Uncle, I'm Tu Zhenxing. This was the first call Tu Zhenxing made after recovering. It was too late last night, so Tu Zhenxing didn't call right away. Tu Zhenxing, you've recovered? That fast? Tu Qingsong thought that even if Lin Yi agreed to heal him, it wouldn't be something that could be healed in a short amount of time. It would take at least a few days or even a month. He didn't think that he would be healed on the second day. Actually, I was healed last night, but it can't be considered a full recovery. My meridians haven't recovered yet. Tu Zhenxing shook his head. It was too late last night, so I didn't call you, uncle, that fast. Tu Qingsong's expression changed. It seemed that his decision back then was right. How could the young people related to those two not be strong? Healing Tu Zhenxing's injuries this quickly wouldn't take too long for his meridians to recover. With that thought, Tu Qingsong quickly asked, Tu Zhenxing, did she tell you what I meant? Uncle, you're talking about building a good relationship with boss Lin Yi? Tu Zhenxing paused. He was just about to report this to his uncle, but he didn't think that his uncle would be even more anxious than him. That's right. Hey, you've already recognized him as boss. Tu Qingsong paid attention to the way Tu Zhenxing addressed Lin Yi. Not really. In the morning, I went to the restaurant to find him. This was what happened. Tu Zhenxing told Tu Qingsong about how he shamelessly called Lin Yi boss in the restaurant. However, boss Lin Yi didn't deny it. He didn't strongly reject it. That's good. Tu Qingsong was relieved. Tu Zhenxing, you did a good job. This trip to the Central Plains wasn't in vain. Although you didn't participate in the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial, your harvest has far exceeded the trial. If you have a good relationship with Lin Yi, it may bring great benefits to our Yellow Earth sect in the future. Yes, I know. Tu Zhenxing nodded. Uncle, have you heard of Lin Yi? Tu Zhenxing knew Tu Qingsong's personality very well. He recognized Lin Yi as his boss only because of his admiration for Lin Yi. He couldn't beat Zhong Naipao, but Lin Yi could, and had even healed his injuries. These were all reasons why Tu Zhenxing respected Lin Yi. But these reasons weren't enough to move Tu Qingsong, to make him approve of the relationship between Tu Zhenxing and Lin Yi. But now, Tu Qingsong was uncharacteristically approving, and Tu Zhenxing was confused. Chem. Don't ask about these things. It's not good for you to know too early. It might not be a good thing for you to interact with him with a fearful heart. Tu Qingsong shook his head. Chapter 2898. In short, you don't have to ask. Just continue as before. Tu Qingsong didn't explain further. What happened back then had shocked the entire ancient sect. Although it had been a long time, many ancient sects avoided talking about it. Okay. Tu Overlord didn't ask any more questions after hearing his uncle's words. Instead, he changed the topic. Uncle, there's something important I have to report to you. Oh, what else? Tu Qingsong asked. The earth essence fluid that boss Lin Yi asked for was not for an earth cultivator to use when they went berserk, but for an earth inheritor. Tu Overlord said and told Tu Qingsong about what he had discussed with Lin Yi. Earth element inheritor? Tu Qingsong's pupils shrank, and his breathing quickened. Tu Overlord didn't know what it meant for Lin Yi to have an earth inheritor by his side, but Tu Qingsong immediately thought of what happened back then. That earth inheritor was very likely his daughter, Tu Ranran, who had been taken away by those two people. And Lin Yi was one of the two, Lin Dongfang's grandson. That explained why his daughter was with Lin Yi and they were friends. That explained everything. Back then, Tu Ranran was born in a special way. Because the bloodline of the Yellow Earth High Sect wouldn't give birth to a daughter, they had to use a special method. However, although Tu Ranran was born smoothly, she was weak and sickly from a young age. However, the Yellow Earth High Sect's mantra was targeted at male cultivators. Female inheritors would only start cultivating after receiving the inheritance. Therefore, in order to cultivate, Tu Ranran had to reach the minimum age to receive the inheritance. Then, after receiving the inheritance, she had to break through to the heaven stage before the age of 20 to be safe. As long as she successfully received the inheritance, there would be no barrier to breaking through. Breaking through to the heaven stage wouldn't be too difficult, but the key was that Tu Ranran couldn't hold on any longer. She couldn't wait until the age to receive the inheritance. Tu Qingsong and his father, Tu Wanghai, sought medical help everywhere for this matter, but to no avail. Just as they were about to lose hope, a traveling merchant who traveled between the Central Plains, the Western regions, and the Miao territory brought good news to the Lurs Highness Sec. In the Miao region, there was a divine doctor named Lin Dongfang. His medical skills were unfathomable, and he was worth a try. Tu Wanghai was overjoyed and immediately brought Tu Ranran along with the traveling merchants towards the Miao region. However, this divine doctor Lin Dongfang did not have a fixed residence, and the traveling merchants did not know where he lived, so they could only try their luck at the market. Lin Dongfang had to go to the market for a period of time to treat patients from other villages. Hence, Tu Wanghai really met him. Lin Dongfang was a doctor in the market. Naturally, he would receive all kinds of patients. Although he could tell that Tu Wanghai was abnormal, he still followed the rules and checked on Tu Ranran's condition. However, after checking it out, Lin Dongfang let out a puzzled her. Seeing Lin Dongfang's expression, Tu Wanghai immediately asked, "Doctor, can my granddaughter be saved? Her body is abnormally weak, and there's no sign of life. I can't tell the specific problem, but it won't be a problem for her to follow me and live until she's 15. Lin Dongfang pondered for a moment and said, "Follow you?" Tu Wanghai was slightly stunned, but he understood Lin Dongfang's meaning. "Doctor, you mean that my granddaughter must live by your side before you can treat her?" "That's right. Her body isn't something that can be recuperated overnight. Her problem is very serious. I need to prescribe the right medicine. The medicine that I prescribe for each period of time is different. I need to tailor the medicine according to the condition of her body." Lin Dongfang nodded his head and said, "Then, doctor, can you come to live in our house? Don't worry, I will pay multiple times the consultation fees. All you have to do is to treat my granddaughter full-time. I will also compensate you for your other medical expenses. I will pay for your consultation fees every day. What do you think?" Tu Wanghai immediately said, "I can't go." Lin Dongfang said faintly, "If you want to be treated, stay here. If you don't want to be treated, you can leave. Do you know who you are talking to?" Before Tu Wanghai could answer, one of his followers got anxious and wanted to kick Lin Dongfang's medicine stall over. They came from an ancient sect. No matter where they went, they were all high and mighty. Lin Dongfang was just a small Jianghu doctor, yet he dared to be so arrogant. This follower was naturally unhappy. "Tu Qingshui, back off." Tu Wanghai naturally knew that he couldn't offend Lin Dongfang at this moment. His follower was a little too hot-tempered. However, it was too late for him to stop. That follower was also a heaven-rank middle-stage expert. Even if he didn't use any martial technique, the speed of his kick was faster than Tu Wanghai's word. Just as he was about to kick Lin Dongfang's medicine stall away, his leg was easily caught by a hand. Going out to walk a dog is naturally good, but sometimes, a mad dog will spoil things. Lin Dongfang looked at Tu Wanghai and said faintly, "I will throw this dog away for you." After saying that, Lin Dongfang lightly raised his hand and Tu Qingshui flew out, landing heavily in the rubbish pile far away. Tu Wanghai was a little shocked. He looked at Lin Dongfang in front of him in shock. Just now, he had made a mistake. The person in front of him was actually an expert. Moreover, it was very likely that he was a very high-level physical expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to throw Tu Qingshui out so easily. Even if Tu Qingshui didn't use any martial technique, he wouldn't be thrown out so easily. "Doctor, I'm sorry. My follower was a little anxious. Please forgive him." Tu Wanghai quickly apologized. "You are right. When I go back, I will still punish him." Tu Qingshui, who had fallen into the rubbish pile, had already regained his senses. Only then did he realize that he was wrong. Yes, it was very likely that he was also an expert. He didn't use any martial technique, And the other party didn't use any martial technique either. However, when he was caught by the other party, he immediately used his true chi to struggle free. However, the other party still didn't use his true chi and threw him out. Then, there were only two possibilities in this situation. The other party was a very high-level internal expert, higher than his level, or the other party was a very high-level physical expert. He didn't need to use the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy. Just by relying on the tyrannical strength of his body, he could ignore his true chi and throw him out. Chapter 2899. I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble. If I really offend such an expert, he might just leave. What about Tu Ranran, the little princess of the Yellow Soil sect? Who would treat her? Fortunately, Lin Dongfang didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. That's your problem. Lin Dongfang said indifferently. Yes. Tu Wanghai didn't mention these things anymore. Instead, he looked at Lin Dongfang anxiously. Then, my granddaughter's illness? She is a patient. A mad dog is a mad dog. Since I'm here, there's no reason for me to ignore her. Lin Dongfang was clear about gratitude and grudges. However, I've already given her the treatment plan. Either she follows me and I guarantee that she will live to 15, or you take her away. I'm afraid she won't be able to survive next year. Tu Wanghai immediately fell into a dilemma. He wouldn't feel at ease if Tu Ranran stayed here alone. Tu Ranran was only 2 years old. She didn't know anything and couldn't remember anything. As for Tu Wanghai, he was the sect master of the Yellow Soil sect. Naturally, he couldn't leave the sect and stay with Tu Ranran. However, if he didn't agree, Tu Ranran might die. Tu Wanghai felt that Lin Dongfang wasn't being alarmist. Many doctors had seen her and said that Tu Ranran wouldn't live past 3 years old. Hence, Tu Wanghai was in a dilemma. Old man, do you want me to read your fortune for you? It's very cheap. Just 1 million. Just as Tu Wanghai was hesitating, a voice came from beside him. It gave him a fright. He quickly turned his head and saw a fortune-teller dressed in Daoist attire beside Lin Dongfang's medicine stall. The stall of the person dressed in Daoist attire was very simple. There was only a small banner with the words, "Ancestral fortune-telling." No refunds. Only 100. Tu Wanghai saw that the banner only required 100 and was instantly angered. Do you think I don't know how to read? Only 100 and you want me to pay 1 million? What kind of person is the price? Forget it if you don't want it. Just don't regret it. The fortune-teller dressed in Daoist attire shook his head and didn't mind. Only a ghost would believe you. Tu Wanghai snorted and turned around, ignoring him. If it was any other time, he would definitely teach this profiteer a lesson. But today, he was not in the mood, nor did he want to complicate matters. You're right. Even ghosts believe in me. The Taoist fortune-teller nodded. However, Tu Wanghai ignored him and pretended not to hear anything. He treated this Daoist fortune-teller as an ordinary swindler. However, at this time, an old farmer walked over to the fortune-teller's stall. He respectfully handed over a $100 bill and asked sincerely, "Mr. Mo, may I ask when it will rain? The melons in my field are dying of drought. If it doesn't rain within a month, I will take my son and daughter-in-law to work elsewhere and give up on our melon field. Please give me a suggestion. Let's go back. It's going to rain today," the fortune-teller called Mr. Mo said without even trying to predict the future. "Ah, is it going to rain today? That's great, I'll go back and wait for you," the farmer said with endless gratitude. "You're welcome." This Mr. Mo was naturally Lin Dongfang's good friend of many years, Mo Kongwen. What a joke. Tu Wanghai was vexed and did not know what to do. When he heard such a huge scam, he immediately found a way to vent. "It's going to rain today. How can it rain on such a sunny day? Do you think you're a weather forecaster? Rain on a sunny day? Drenching a tortoise? Old farmer, you've been scammed. Idiot, drenching a tortoise. I'll be drenching you in a while." The farmer looked at Tu Wanghai with disdain. He curled his lips and turned to leave. "You don't know what's good for you." Tu Wanghai was infuriated. However, As an ancient-era cultivator, why would he bother with an old farmer? He could only shake his head gloomily. You don't know what's good for you. Tu Wanghai was infuriated. However, as an ancient-era cultivator, why would he bother with an old farmer? He could only shake his head gloomily. He was dissatisfied with this fortune-teller who took advantage of the situation, and felt that it was a pity for the old farmer's stupidity. However, at this moment, there was a sudden boom in the clear sky. A sudden clap of thunder was heard, followed by a flash of lightning. Following that, a heavy downpour poured down from the sky, directly drenching Tu Wanghai's heart. However, at this moment, Tu Wanghai did not feel that he was unlucky to be drenched by the rain. Deep in his heart, he was deeply shocked. He turned his head and looked at the calm Mo Kongwen in disbelief. He suddenly came to a realization. Sir, I'm sorry. I was rude just now. You're not as old as me. You don't have to flaunt your seniority in front of me. Mo Kongwen said faintly. As for whether I was rude or not, there's no way to talk about it. You're not my customer. You can say whatever you want. Tu Wanghai was a heaven-ranked cultivator. He did not think that Mo Kongwen was faking it previously. This heavy downpour came without any warning. Even he did not notice it. It seemed like Mo Kongwen really had some skills. Therefore, Tu Wanghai immediately became extremely respectful. Senior, in your opinion, I should now. Mo Kongwen stretched out his hand and gestured with his finger. Tu Qingshui, come out. Tu Wanghai turned his head and looked in the direction of the rubbish pile. Don't play dead. I'll punish you when we get back. Yes. Sect Master. Tu Qingshui hurriedly climbed out of the rubbish pile and walked over carefully. There were still 2 broken vegetable leaves on his head, and it was raining. He looked like a drowned rat, and he was as pathetic as one could imagine. Give me the checkbook. Tu Wanghai said. Yes. Tu Qingshui quickly took out the checkbook from his backpack and passed it to Tu Wanghai. Tu Wanghai did not say anything else. He immediately signed a 1 million check and passed it to Mo Kongwen. Senior, you see, if you hand your granddaughter over to old Lin for treatment, I can guarantee that not only will your granddaughter not die before she turns 3, she won't die before she turns 15. Mo Kongwen accepted the check and said casually, moreover, she will live to 100 years old and bring good fortune to your entire sect. Chapter 2900. If it wasn't for the sunny days and the rainy days previously, Tu Wanghai would definitely scoff at Mo Kongwen's words. But now, he didn't think so. Instead, he asked, Senior, can you be more specific? Specific? This. Mo Kongwen said half a sentence and stopped. Senior, here's $1 million. Tu Wanghai immediately signed another check and handed it to Mo Kongwen. The money was nothing to him. As long as Mo Kongwen's words were really useful, it was worth it. All right, to tell you the truth, your granddaughter will find a good man in the future. Then, your granddaughter's life will become smooth sailing, and then, everything will go smoothly, said Mo Kongwen. Oh! Tu Wanghai listened to Mo Kongwen's words thoughtfully. Although it was a little simple, the matter was very clear. Finally, Tu Wanghai nodded and said, Doctor, my granddaughter can stay with you, but how can I find her in the future? If you want to find me, you can come to the market to look for her. If you can't find her for now, I will send her to a place that is more suitable for her treatment. 5 years later, when her condition stabilizes, I can bring you to see her, but you can't take her away. Otherwise, she will still die, Lin Dongfang said faintly. This. All right. Tu Wanghai gritted his teeth and replied, Doctor, can she live until the age of 16? As long as she can live until the age of 16, I can pay any price. 16 years old was the minimum age requirement for the Yellow Earth High Sect's inheritance. Only at the age of 16 could a girl comprehend the inheritance. Hence, this was also the reason why Tu Wanghai required her to be 16 years old. No matter what, I will try my best, but I can't guarantee anything now. Lin Dongfang shook his head. All right, doctor, do your best. Tu Wanghai could only do so. After all, this was the best solution at the moment. After settling Tu Ranran down and paying the medical fees, Tu Wanghai brought Tu Qingshui back to the Yellow Earth High Sect. This trip made Tu Wanghai sigh with emotion. He had never expected that there would be two masters in that remote place. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. Tu Wanghai missed his granddaughter, Tu Ranran, and wanted to set off for Miaojiang again. But at this time, two ruthless people suddenly appeared in the pugilistic world. These two people appeared without any warning. They just appeared out of thin air and swept through all the ancient sects in the Central Plains. They instantly killed a few Heaven Stage elites and gained the title of Vajra's Dual Fiends. Everyone in the Jianghu had their expressions change when they talked about them. These two people, under the banner of helping the perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts break through the heavenly Tao, gathered all the perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts from the ancient sects of the Central Plains together. Of course, there were also many experts who were unconvinced. Why should they listen to his orders? However, the first stop of their journey was the Everyday and Everyday sect. Of these two people, one was fine after taking a blow from a peak late-stage perfect perfection master, while the other casually waved his fist and killed the Everyday and Everyday sect's patriarch, Mad Dragon Patriarch, who was at peak late-stage perfect perfection heaven rank. That Mad Dragon Patriarch was the primordial spirit of the Mad Dragon Patriarch who had possessed Zhong Pingliang. Back then, he died tragically under the fists of these two ruthless people and became the first victim to be killed as a warning to others. Then, they went to the Holifist Palace and many other ancient sects. The perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts who followed them were fine. They promised to help them set foot on the heavenly Tao, but after they set foot on the heavenly Tao, they had to do something for them. Those who did not follow them went to the road to hell. Later, those perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts of the ancient sects, after waiting for the arrival of these two people, all welcomed them with smiles and offered to follow them. Legend had it that these two people were elites in the Tao of Heaven, and their words were naturally trustworthy. Some of the followers were willing, and some were forced to follow them. No matter what, they obediently followed these two people and left. Then, they were never heard from again. This matter was very strange. After they left, there was no news of them in Jianghu. Back then, Tu Qingsong's father, Tu Wanghai, took the initiative to invite these two people to the Yellow Earth High sect. Firstly, Tu Wanghai was worried about Tu Ranran's situation. Secondly, he had been stuck at the peak late-stage perfect perfection heaven rank for too long. If he did not advance to the heavenly Tao, he was afraid that he would die of old age. Tu Wanghai did not know if he could survive until the day when the Heavenly Island plan was launched, so he took the initiative to invite the two ruthless people, the twin killers of King Kong, to the Yellow Earth High sect. The Yellow Earth High sect was located in the West region. The two ruthless people were in a hurry and did not intend to come, but since they were invited by Tu Wanghai, they still came. The two people that other sects avoided like the plague were treated with incomparable passion by Tu Wanghai. There was no other reason, because one of the twin killers of King Kong was the miracle doctor who treated Tu Ranran, Lin Dongfang. The reason why Tu Wanghai knew was that although he did not see the twin killers of King Kong with his own eyes, their portraits had spread to all the ancient sect. And Tu Wanghai naturally got one of them. When Tu Wanghai saw the familiar face of Lin Dongfang in the picture, he was immediately stunned. What? That miracle doctor from Miaojiang was actually a heavenly Tao master? No wonder he was able to cure Tu Ranran and throw Tu Qingshui away with a casual toss of his hand. As for Tu Qingshui, when he saw the portrait, cold sweat flowed down his back. He was extremely shocked. That year, he actually scolded a heavenly Tao master and was not beaten to death. What a joyous occasion. This was simply a great stroke of luck. Lin Dongfang smiled faintly when he saw Tu Wanghai again. The person beside him was Yang Chiche's father, Lin Yi's master. He did not speak much and only nodded at Tu Wanghai. Tu Wanghai did not dare to neglect these two legendary heavenly Tao masters. He personally welcomed them from 1,000 miles away from the sect. When he saw Lin Dongfang and Mr. Yang, he immediately cupped his fist and walked up to them respectfully. Yellow Earth High Sect's master, Tu Wanghai, greets the two seniors. No need to be so polite, we are not strangers anymore. Lin Dongfang waved his hand and said, "Did you ask us to come here because of your granddaughter, or?" Chapter 2901. This is Yang Ming, my sworn brother. Lin Dongfang introduced. He had some relationship with Tu Wang Hai. Naturally, Lin Dongfang wouldn't put on a domineering attitude like he did with the other ancient sects. This senior Yang Ming was naturally Yang Chich's father, Lin Yi's master. However, Lin Yi would never have dreamed that his master and his old man were such powerful figures in the past. However, after this incident, Yang Ming left, and Lin Dongfang once again lived in seclusion in the mountains. These ancient sects that suffered losses were all scared out of their wits. They kept their mouths shut about this incident, and no one would take the initiative to ask about it. As for Lin Dongfang, due to some reason, he also kept his mouth shut about the incident in the past. As time passed, this incident was gradually buried. Tu Wang Hai greets Senior Yang. Tu Wang Hai said solemnly. Yang Ming waved his hand indifferently and said, "Since you are Big Brother Lin's old friend, then you don't have to be so polite. Tell us why you are looking for us." Yes. Tu Wang Hai didn't dare to play any tricks. He only spoke the truth. "I invited the two of you here. Firstly, it's because of my own matters. I have been stuck at heaven-class late phase peak great perfection for too long. If I don't advance to heaven's path soon, I'm afraid I will die of old age. Both of you are heaven's path experts, and you are currently recruiting heaven-class late phase peak great perfection experts to advance to heaven's path. So, I would like to recommend myself." "Oh." "Most of the other sects avoid us. You, on the other hand, took the initiative to look for us." Yang Ming looked at Tu Wang Hai with interest and asked, "Aren't you afraid that I will lie to you?" Others would naturally think so, but I have seen Senior Lin Dongfang before. "I know that you won't lie to me," Tu Wang Hai said firmly. "Hihi, we won't lie to you. But, let me say the ugly words first. We helped you advance to heaven's path, so you have to follow us to do something." Yang Ming smiled and said, "Are you willing?" "Of course. Senior helped me advance to the heavenly Tao, so it's reasonable for me to help Senior. There's nothing to shirk." Tu Wang Hai nodded and said, "It's my duty." "Good, then you can pack up and leave with us," Lin Dongfang said with satisfaction. "All right. Secondly, I want to ask, how is my granddaughter's illness?" Tu Wang Hai asked. "Your granddaughter, I've taken her in as my goddaughter. Right now, under the care of Big Brother Lin's medicine, her body is still very good. However, I didn't tell her about her background. I don't want her to feel any pressure." Yang Ming said, "This time, if you go with us, you can see her. You can just look at her from a distance. Don't say anything to her." "I understand." Tu Wang Hai hurriedly agreed. He also knew that allowing Tu Ranran to be carefree and without any psychological pressure would be beneficial to her growth. Otherwise, if she was troubled all day long, even Lin Dongfang wouldn't be able to help her even if he was a divine doctor. "Well, if that's the case, then let's go. Things are more urgent. If you guys advance to heaven's way together, we can rush to support earlier and return earlier," Yang Ming said. "No problem. Seniors, I'll go pack up and leave with you." Although Tu Wang Hai didn't know what they were going to support, he didn't ask much. Since it was decided, then let's go. Who cared what it was? At this time, Tu Qingsong was already the young sect master of the Yellow Earth High sect. Every day, he followed Tu Wang Hai and learned how to deal with some sect affairs. Therefore, he was very familiar with what happened in the past. After Tu Wang Hai left, Tu Qingsong inherited the position of sect master. However, what he didn't expect was that his father and the two seniors left for more than 10 years without any news. All these years, Tu Wang Hai also inquired about other ancient sects. He asked if there was any news of their sect master, great elder, or supreme elder who left. However, no one had any news. These people just disappeared into thin air. Then, in everyone's opinion, these people were probably no longer in this world. What happened in the past was probably a scam. The two Heaven's Way Masters took away and killed those peak late-stage Heaven Stage Great Perfection experts. Of course, there were all kinds of theories. Some said that the Heaven's Way Masters were another level of strength. These people cultivated in another place. That place was Heaven Stage Island. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth there was incomparable. After these people advanced to Heaven's Way, They were restricted by Heaven's Way and couldn't leave Heaven Stage Island at will. Anyway, everyone had different opinions. Everyone was just guessing. Even if what those people said was true, that the Heaven's Way masters couldn't leave Heaven Stage Island at will, Tu Qingsong also wanted to know the whereabouts of Tu Ranran. However, when he went to Miaojiang with Tu Qingshui again to look for Lin Dongfang, he found that the market was long gone. There was a landslide there, and the original market was now full of rocks. Miaojiang was huge. How could Tu Qingsong have time to search slowly? Moreover, even if he searched, he might not be able to find her. Wasn't it said that Tu Ranran was sent to senior Yang Ming? Therefore, Tu Qingsong could only return to the western region with Tu Qingshui. Now, Tu Qingsong suddenly got the news of the descendants of those two people. He was excited, but he didn't dare to immediately ask Lin Yi about the whereabouts of the two seniors. He could only let Tu Overlord and Lin Yi get familiar with each other first, and then find a chance to ask in the future. However, the only thing worth rejoicing was that Tu Ranran should be with Lin Yi. The earth essence that Lin Yi and Huang Tu asked for should also be for Tu Ranran. "Uncle, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you talking?" After Tu Overlord said Earth Inheritor, although Tu Qingsong's excitement seemed reasonable to him, he shouldn't be so excited that he didn't speak for a long time, right? Therefore, the local tyrant finally couldn't wait any longer and opened his mouth to ask. "Nothing, I'm just too happy." Tu Qingsong felt that there were some things that he shouldn't tell Tuor about. After all, Tuor was young and arrogant, and his temper wasn't stable. If he told the truth, it would only make Tuor more afraid, or make him work harder to please Lin Yi. That wouldn't be good. Chapter 2902. That's right. Although I didn't manage to find any news of my sister during my trip to the Central Plains this time, I unexpectedly found another Earth-type inheritor. It's really a case of planted flowers don't bloom. Tu Overlord nodded and said, "By the way, isn't it only the bloodline of our Yellow Earth High sect that can inherit and comprehend the Earth-type power? Why are there other Earth-type inheritors other than our family?" "Oh, our Yellow Earth High sect has been passed down for 1,000 years. There should be some collateral branches," Tu Qingsong said casually. "Collateral branches? There are." It was Tu Overlord's first time hearing that the Yellow Earth High sect had collateral branches, so he was a little surprised. "Of course. How about this? Can you look for Mr. Lin Yi and ask for the Earth-type inheritor's photo and name for me to take a look?" Tu Qingsong asked. "What do you want a name and photo for?" Tu Overlord was taken aback. He didn't understand what Tu Qingsong meant. What did the name and photo have to do with whether Lin Yi's friend was an Earth-type inheritor or not? "Oh, didn't I say it? She might be from a collateral branch of our Yellow Earth High sect," Tu Qingsong said. "Is that so? Hey, Uncle, do you think it's possible that she's my long-lost cousin?" Tu Overlord made an even bolder deduction after hearing Tu Qingsong's words. Tu Qingsong was shocked. He didn't expect Tu Overlord to directly link it to Tu Ranran from a collateral branch. However, it was normal for Tu Overlord to have his suspicions back then. It was just that Tu Overlord had less evidence than him. Under the guidance of a collateral branch, Tu Overlord also made such a deduction. "Uncle, although my deduction might shock you, it's not impossible." When Tu Qingsong heard Tu Qingsong's he thought that he was shocked by his deduction. "It's indeed possible." Tu Qingsong smiled bitterly. He originally wanted to hide it for the time being, but who knew that Tu Overlord would guess it himself? If that's the case, then Boss Lin Yi might have become my brother-in-law. Tu Xiaowang's thoughts kept jumping. In his opinion, since Lin Yi was seeking medicine for Tu Ranran, then his relationship with Tu Ranran must be extraordinary. Perhaps they were confidants. "Tyrant, what are you thinking?" Tu Qingsong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Besides, didn't you say that there's a girl by Mr. Lin Yi's side?" "You're talking about young Chichi? Mr. Lin Yi's so strong, there's no way he only has one woman, right? And from what I see, young Chichi calls Lin Yi boss brother, maybe they're siblings." As for Chichi, Tu Hegemon didn't think much of it. People at his level didn't have the concept of monogamy at all. She was an ancient sect, after all, and they still followed the rules of the olden days. Yang. Yang Chichi? Tu Chingsong froze at the name. You're saying that girl's called Yang Chichi? Yeah, what's wrong, uncle? Tu Xiaowang felt like his uncle was acting a little weird today. Yang Chichi's surname was Yang, and the other Heaven's Path elite was called Yang Ming. Could they be related? The more Tu Xiaowang thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. Otherwise, why would Chichi be with Lin Yi? But he couldn't tell Tu Xiaowang too much about this. It's nothing, it's a good name. Good name? Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised. Were numbered names popular now? But it didn't seem as domineering as his own name. Yes, it's a good name. Tu Chingsong said seriously. All right, I'll try my best to ask. Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised at his uncle's sudden change in taste, but it wasn't his place to ask. In Yang Chichi's room, Chichi relayed what Tu Xiaowang said to Ju, who was a little shocked on the other side. He went silent after Chichi was done. I'm sorry, Ju, but I'm afraid this is the best solution. I couldn't find a better way to help you. Chichi could understand how Ju was feeling right now. After all, Ju was going to the Yellow Earth High Sect to accept their legacy, and there was something he had to do that could bring danger to Ju. Don't say that, Chi Jie. You and Yi Bro have been running around for me all this time, and I can't thank you enough, Ju said. It's just that I don't want to be separated from you. The Yellow Earth High Sect is in the western region. It'll be hard for us to meet again. Plus, what about the hacker mission? I've let it go, there's no one here to take over. We'll have to let Mrs. Ju take over for now, Chichi said. I want to ask you, Ju, what are your real thoughts? You and Yi Bro have both embarked on the path of cultivation. I don't want to fall behind either, Ju said weakly after a moment of silence. Chichi paused, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. So, deep in Ju's heart, he didn't want to pull too far away from her and Lin Yi. Lin Yi was already standing at a very high position in the world of cultivation, and she would also work hard. But Ju couldn't, and the gap between the three would only become more and more obvious in the future. It was reasonable for Ju to have this thought. Okay, then I'll tell Lin Yi Bro what you mean. Chichi confirmed Ju's meaning and nodded. Okay. Ju nodded. Hanging up, Chichi went to Lin Yi's room to find Lin Yi. Chichi, you and Ju are done? Lin Yi opened the door and was a bit surprised to see Chichi. He didn't think that there would be a result so soon. Lin Yi thought that Chichi and Ju would talk until midnight. Yeah, Ju said that she's willing to become a practitioner and accept the inheritance. She doesn't want to be too far away from us, Chichi said. Okay, if that's the case, I'll go find Tuoba now. Lin Yi didn't say much, and he didn't need to. He understood Ju's thoughts. Just like the miss back then, she also wanted to train and didn't want to be too far away from him. Thinking of the miss, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh softly. He'd been out for a while now, and he didn't know if she was doing well. Chapter 2903. She was the one he was supposed to take care of the most when he returned to the city, because that was his mission. However, he often neglected her. After leaving the room, Lin Yi went straight to Tu Xiaowang's room and knocked. Diamond Star, right? The door isn't locked. Come in. Tu Xiaowang had just ended his call with Tu Chingsong, thinking that it was Earth Diamond Star. It's me. Lin Yi pushed the door open and said. Ah, it's Boss Lin Yi. Tu Xiaowang jumped off the bed and ran to the door to greet Lin Yi. What are you in such a rush for? Lin Yi frowned after this period of interaction. He could tell that Tuo wasn't a scheming person, but he was a hothead when it came to handling things. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten hurt by Naipao. But then again, which of these disciples of the ancient sects wasn't prideful? They were the elites of their sects, and when they went out, they naturally didn't like each other. It was normal for them to have conflicts. Hee. Boss Lin Yi, why are you looking for me? Tu Xiaowang didn't mind at all. This was his personality, and he didn't care what Lin Yi said about him. Let me ask you, that friend of mine, after receiving the inheritance, does she have to do that annoying mission to open the island? Lin Yi asked straightforwardly. Since Little Nine didn't have any objections, Lin Yi naturally wanted to fight for more benefits for her. Doesn't she want to ascend to Sky Dao? Tu Xiaowang asked suspiciously. As far as he was concerned, nothing was more important than a practitioner being able to step into Skydao. Wasn't this the pursuit of all practitioners? It was the same for Tu Overlord and the people around him. It was the same for his grandfather in the past. Therefore, Tu Overlord felt that it was natural for cultivators to pursue the heavenly way. It had been like this since ancient times. Although what inheritors did was a little dangerous, it was equivalent to obtaining a ticket to the Heaven Stage Island after success. After all, it hadn't been long since the Heavenly Island opened the sealed passage, and the number of cultivators that could enter was limited. Not just anyone could enter as they wished. These quotas were determined through the Heavenly Island Conference, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that they fought to the death for it. Everyone has their own ambitions. I'm just asking. Lin Yi asked without any change in his expression. Most importantly, he didn't want the people around him to have too much relationship with the Five Elements sect and the Heavenly Elixir sect. Actually, once your friend successfully comprehends the legacy, that place will definitely sense it. If she accepts the legacy and doesn't participate in the plan, not only will our Lurse Earth sect be blamed and attacked by that place, they won't let your friend off either. They'll definitely send people to capture her and bring her back. Tu Overlord said, "This is also the reason why I said that after your friend accepts the legacy, she must carry out that plan. Boss Lin Yi, I don't deny that you're very powerful, but the people from that place are unexpectedly powerful. Their unique skills are all real ancient divine skills, and some even have immemorial divine skills. We can't match them." Lin Yi nodded. He had naturally experienced the strength of the people from the Five Elements sect. Tagan Long, the weakest among them, was already very powerful. Tian Chan, Little 11, and Little 1 were all super powerhouses, not to mention ancestor Shen Chen, who had always been hiding behind the scenes. I've fought with the people from the Five Elements sect a few times, so I know how powerful they are, Lin Yi said in agreement. What? Tu Overlord was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. Boss, you've fought with the people from the Five Elements sect? A few times. Then you didn't die? Ah. Of course, I don't mean to look down on you, nor do I mean to curse you to death. I mean, Hehe, there's no need to explain. I understand. Lin Yi smiled faintly. Every time it's extremely dangerous, and I almost died. Their medium was crippled by me. They've always wanted to kill me, but they're currently in a delicate state of balance. They're a little afraid. Boss is really boss, too powerful. Tu Overlord said in surprise. Even the Five Elements sect doesn't dare to act rashly? It's not that they don't dare, they're just a little afraid. Lin Yi was not arrogant to this extent. He just said, but it's only a delicate balance. Once my friend inherits the legacy, I'm afraid it'll be like what you said. The Five Elements sect won't let her go easily. Yes, so instead of being captured by the Five Elements sect after she leaves, it's better to stay in our Yellow Earth sect. We can protect her safety during this period of time. Tu Overlord nodded. In that case, I'll think about it. Lin Yi did not immediately agree. Although Little 9 had already agreed, but Lin Yi still had a responsible attitude towards Little 9. He had to carefully weigh the pros and cons for her. Boss Lin Yi, there's something I want to ask. Seeing that Lin Yi did not agree, Tu Overlord's heart tightened and he could not help but ask. Oh, what's the matter? Just say it. Lin Yi waved his hand. I don't like to be wishy-washy. If there's something, just say it. Okay, how old is your friend this year? Can you tell me her name? Tu Xiaowang asked carefully. Oh, why do you ask this? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. According to my uncle, only our Yellow Earth sect has the bloodline of the Yellow Earth sect. So far, no one else has it. So, your friend may be my long-lost sister. Tu Overlord naturally did not dare to deceive Lin Yi, so he directly told the truth. Phut, cough cough. Lin Yi suddenly coughed after hearing it. How did Little 9 suddenly become Tu Overlord's sister? Boss, don't laugh. I'm telling the truth. Really. Tu Overlord saw Lin Yi's expression and suddenly laughed dryly. I really have a sister. She has been separated from me for many years. Are you saying that my friend might be your sister? Lin Yi saw that Tu Overlord did not seem to be joking. He immediately frowned. Little Nine was indeed an orphan. She was his master's adopted daughter. In that case, it was really possible. Yes, so I'm just asking your friend's name and age. Tu Overlord nodded. Chapter 2904. 17. As expected. A flash of surprise and joy appeared on Tuo Xiaowang's face. The age is about the same, but the name. It doesn't matter. What's important is that she's an orphan. Yes, your sister is 17 as well. Lin Yi paused. Yeah, 17. Boss, do you have a picture of her? Tuo Xiaowang asked. Yes. Lin Yi took out his phone and logged into the photo gallery. He found a picture and downloaded it to his phone, handing it to Tuo Xiaowang. That's her, me and young Chichi. The one in the wheelchair is Lil Ju, but I don't think a picture is very useful. You weren't that old back then, you probably wouldn't have known her. That's true. Tuo Xiaowang realized that he'd wasted his time looking at the picture. He had no impression of his sister at all. This picture might be useful if he sent it to his uncle, Tu Qingsong. He shook his head. Can you send it to me? I'll send it to my uncle. Not at the moment. Lin Yi declined. I'm not sure if there's a relationship between you and Lil Ju yet. I can show it to you, but I can't send it to you. After all, the picture was related to the assassin organization's secrets, and Lil Ju's image was confidential. Lin Yi wouldn't give it to anyone before he was sure, not even Tuo Xiaowang. I see. Tuo Xiaowang was a little disappointed, but he remembered something and quickly asked, right, does that Lil Ju have a pendant on her? A pendant made out of mud. And the word Earth is written on it. Tuo Xiaowang had come to the Central Plains to look for his sister, and this was what he was relying on. That necklace was an item from the Yellow Earth sect, and it was his sister's identification item. She'd been wearing it since she was young. Oh. Lin Yi was a little surprised, but he was also a little confused. I do have a pendant made out of mud, but it has the word 9 on it, not Earth. 9 foot. That shouldn't be. Tuo Xiaowang was taken aback as well, his eyes wide with confusion. All these things match. Is something wrong? 9. Earth. Lin Yi suddenly thought of something and slammed the table, which shocked Tu Jun. However, Lin Yi ignored him and asked directly, how do you write the word 2? It's just a normal 2 word. Tu Ba Wang was a little baffled. He didn't know why Lin Yi asked this. I think I got it. The Earth character you guys carved on the pendant is a linked character, and the 2 horizontal lines are joined together to form the shape of the Z. Since it's a messy handwriting, it looks like a 9. Between us, we're using numbers to arrange each other's names. I'm 1, Chich is 7, and when it came to Little 9, our first impressions we thought that the character on her pendant was a coincidence, but it wasn't a 9, but a Earth character. Lin Yi said. That's right. Tu Xiaowang also smacked his forehead and came to a realization. He then said excitedly, Boss, from now on, you're my brother-in-law. Phut. Ahem. Lin Yi started coughing loudly. This Tu Ba Wang's thoughts were quite imaginative. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lil Ju and I are just siblings. At least for now. Lin Yi wanted to say that it had nothing to do with Lil Ju, but unknowingly, Lil Ju's bitter tone rang in his ears, and Lin Yi could only add at least for now. But, this addition made Tu Ba Wang's eyes light up. Haha, that's for sure. Brother-in-law boss, you won't reject this brother-in-law as your follower now, will you? Lin Yi was speechless. What kind of relationship was this? But he knew that if he didn't agree, Tu Ba Wang might say something weird again, so he just nodded. Yeah, haha, that's great, my follower has finally become official. It seems that nepotism is really cool. Tu Ba Wang said proudly. I can send Lil Ju's photo to you, but you have to promise not to spread it. Lin Yi was basically sure that Lil Ju was Tu Ba Wang's long-lost sister, so he agreed to give him the photo. It was just that Lin Yi felt that things were a bit strange. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Boss, you can rest assured that I definitely won't spread it. Moreover, she is my sister. How can I hurt her? Tu Ba Wang promised. This matter is too sudden. I have to go back and communicate with Lil Ju first. As for whether she is willing to acknowledge you, I can't do anything about it. I will definitely not force her, so if she is not willing, I hope you guys won't force it. Lin Yi reminded 2BA Wang. Don't worry, boss will do it step by step. We won't force it. 2BA Wang quickly replied. Lin Yi left 2BA Wang's place and went to young Chichi in shock. He told Chichi about what he had told 2BA Wang. What happened today was simply too shocking. Chichi listened to Lin Yi's story, and her face was very interesting. She didn't think that Lil Ju was 2BA Wang's sister. This was a bit too much. Then, do we become relatives with 2BA Wang? Chichi was a bit troubled. She didn't really like 2BA Wang's personality. There's nothing we can do about it. 2BA Wang may be a bit arrogant, but he's not an idiot. He doesn't act like he is in front of us. Let him be. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. This time, no matter what, I have to fix his meridians. Of course, this is just a small thing. The problem is, can Lil Ju accept this reality? I'll talk to Lil Ju about it. It's her family, after all. I don't know why they got separated back then, but it's good to be able to find her family. Chichi said. Yeah. Lin Yi agreed. Lin Yi didn't really care about his parentage, and he didn't seem to care too much about the fact that he didn't have parents, but deep in Lin Yi's heart, he still wanted to see his parents. It was a kind of faith. Chapter 2905. And from the looks of it, they were very important friends, too. Otherwise, Tu Qingsong didn't think that Lin Yi and Chichi would be running around for something like this. Tu Xiaowang, you've done well. I didn't think that you'd mature quite a bit after not participating in the tests. Tu Qingsong said with praise. Uncle. Tu Xiaowang smiled bitterly. How could one grow without setbacks? He'd been crippled by Zhong Naipao, and that was how he'd learned that there was always someone better than him. Email me the photo. Actually, it doesn't matter if you look at it or not. We can be sure now that little Ju is Ranran. You just need to think of a way to get Mr. Lin Yi to send her back to our Yellow Earth sect. Tu Qingsong said, feeling a little emotional at this point. Could it be that the fortune teller his father met back then was true? Tu Ranran's fate had changed because of her man? Wasn't this person talking about Lin Yi? Tu Qingsong could tell from Tu Xiaowang's words that the relationship between Lin Yi and little Ju wasn't normal, so he came to this conclusion. It seemed that his father's decision back then was a wise one. That 2 million was well spent, and not only was Tu Ranran fine, the Yellow Earth sect had a powerful helper. Other people didn't know about Lin Yi's background, but Tu Qingsong knew it all too well. It seemed that Lin Yi's position in the world wasn't looking too good, and if the Yellow Earth sect were to become Lin Yi's subordinate sect, that would be giving Lin Yi a helping hand. This relationship was different from the icing on the cake. In the future, whoever followed Lin Yi first and got Lin Yi's approval would have the advantage, and when Lin Yi grew up, the Yellow Earth sect would rise as well. Yes, uncle, I'll send it to you in a bit. Tu Xiaowang replied. Ian, you'll be in charge of this, and make an appointment with Mr. Lin Yi. See when he'll come to our sect. Tu Qingsong said. Little Ju suddenly went silent after learning about her parentage. After so many years, she had already treated Yang Ming's home as her own. Although Yang Ming was her godfather, he was more or less like her father. He treated her and Chichi the same, without any bias. And so, little Nine found it hard to feel a sense of belonging in a foreign house. Her long-lost family was there, her brother, her father. But in little Nine's heart, Lin Yi, young Chichi, and Chichi's parents were the people closest to her. She had lived here since she was young. As for the Yellow Earth sect in the western region, this was the first time she had heard of it. She was still a little conflicted about the unknown. Lil Nine. What's wrong? Chichi couldn't help but ask after hearing the silence. Big Sister 7, I don't think this is real. I have a family. Little Nine's voice was somewhat low. There was not the slightest bit of excitement from finding his family. There was only sadness from not knowing how to face it. Lil Nine, are you not happy? In the Yellow Earth sect, not only is your body's problem solved, but you can also see your family. Chichi didn't understand Little Nine's feelings right now. She didn't know why she was so down. Big Sister 7, it's impossible for me to say that I haven't thought about my family. When I was young, I did think about what my birth parents and family were like, but as time went on, I've long since treated you, are ye bro, godfather, and godmother as the closest people to me. Little Nine said quietly. Suddenly, I have a family. I feel like I don't know what to do. Big Sister 7, let me calm down for a bit, okay? I'll think about it. I'll contact you. Okay. Chichi nodded. Lil 9, calm down for a bit. After hanging up, Chichi didn't go straight to Lin Yi. Instead, she called Mrs. Ju. Mrs. Ju was the other wife of Chichi's father, and an expert hacker. She was Little Nine's teacher. She was probably the best person to talk to Little Nine, but, no matter what Little Nine decided, the Sky Elixir Sects test was finally over. The prize ceremony was set for tomorrow morning, at the Sky Elixir Inn Square. It was called a prize ceremony, but it was just a symbolic certificate and a record of each participant's requirements. If the pills were in stock, naturally, they could just take it, but if they weren't, they'd have to make a reservation. In fact, it could even be described as pitifully few. Altogether, more than 40 practitioners of Earth rank and above had participated in this trial. Calculating according to the Spirit Beast's daily killing rate of 2 Earth rank and above experts, excluding the few days when the Dragon of 5 Demons had issued the task and the 5 days after the 15th day, the Spirit Beast had lost about 30 Earth rank and above experts in the 10 days in between. However, the number of cultivators who passed the trial this time was the highest among all the previous batches. Therefore, even though so many people had died, no one would suspect anything. Feng Shipan's reward was a great recovery pill, and so did Ji Xian, Chikuan, and Li Siba. They all got one. Feng Shipan exchanged for the Great Recover pellet for Feng Nitian, and Ji Xian was a lone practitioner. With the Great Recover pellet, he could defend himself. Li Siba was a physical practitioner. Other pellets wouldn't be of much use, only the Great Recover pellet could heal. As for Chikuan, he didn't even know why he got a Great Recovery pill. Elder Bai was dead, and the Great Recovery pill didn't have much use for House Zhao right now. But the Sky Elixir sect didn't have many finished pills, and he only had one with him. According to the rules, he wasn't allowed to ask for future pills. Of course, this depended on the Sky Elixir sect's mood. If they agreed, then it was fine, but Chikuan didn't want any trouble. After all, what Zhong Naipao wanted was a bone-cleansing pill. The Sky Elixir sect didn't have any on hand, but for the sake of the Everyday and Everyday sect, Silkworm sect agreed to let Zhao Ming make one for Naipao. When it was Lin Yi's turn, Lin Yi said to Kang Ming directly, "Great Recovery Pill." Chapter 2906. What the Heavenly Silkworm Transformation Master was thinking was, what did Lin Yi want the Recover Pill for? At the bottom of the cliff, Lin Yi didn't take away the 2 Recover Pills she had. What did he want it for? Moreover, Lin Yi had that kind of magical healing ability. What did he want the Recover Pill for? Could it be because Lin Yi cured 2 Overlord and was afraid of being suspected, so he covered it up? At present, this was the only guess she had. The news of 2 Overlords' recovery had already spread throughout the Heavenly Elixir sect and even the 5 Elements sect. Although Ancestor Shen Chen was very puzzled as to how 2 Overlord had recovered, and seeing that he was very close to Lin Yi, he also suspected that Lin Yi had played some role in it. However, Ancestor Shen Chen never thought that Lin Yi could use True Qi to heal others. After all, using True Qi to heal others only existed between people of the same sect and the same mental cultivation method. Moreover, the healer had to spend a lot of physical strength and True Qi to heal others. Unless they had a very good relationship, who would make such a sacrifice? Moreover, Lin Yi and 2 Overlord weren't from the same sect, nor did they cultivate the same mental cultivation method. They didn't even know each other at all, and their relationship wasn't good either. Why would Lin Yi heal him? Moreover, it seemed that Lin Yi was very good now. It didn't seem like he had used a lot of physical strength and True Qi at all. Therefore, even if Ancestor Shen Chen was suspicious, he couldn't think of any clues. It was even more impossible for Lin Yi to give 2 Overlord a 4th grade Recover pill. This matter could only be inquired about slowly and see if he could find out from 2 Overlord. There was no other way. Because if he asked Lin Yi would definitely not tell the truth. However, Lin Yi didn't have such thoughts about Tian Chan at all. Lin Yi didn't ask to refine the Ice Heart Jade Heart pill because there was a grudge between him and Kang Ming. Even if he brought the materials, the Heavenly Elixir School might not refine it for him. At that time, He could just tell him that he didn't refine it and that he had failed, and there was nothing he could do. Therefore, Lin Yi might as well take a Dahuan pill that the Heavenly Elixir sect had in stock. Although it seemed that the Dahuan pill was temporarily useless to him, it was not. To Lin Yi, this was also a good thing. When Lin Yi used the true Qi bomb, the whole body of the physical strength of the true Qi was shot out, and accidentally injured his meridians. In this case, Lin Yi was unable to repair the meridians in his body, but, as long as there was a great restore Dan, which could repair a few meridians, then he could repair the other meridians. In this situation, without Skybolt Pig and General Weiwu, it was very useful. Ah! Lin Yi, don't you want to reconsider? You didn't want this Dahuan pill before. Didn't you tell me that you wanted the Ice Heart Jade Heart pill? Kang Ming frowned and asked unwillingly. Oh, didn't I need 2 spiritual herbs to refine a pill for you? Lin Yi said indifferently, I only have 1 spiritual herb, I just need a ready-made pill. This. Actually, seeing that we are old friends, I can make an exception. Moreover, this is what the Heavenly Elixir sect promised you before. Kang Ming quickly said. Forget it, I'll give you the ingredients, and if you ruin it for me, I won't have anyone to talk to about it. Lin Yi shook his head. I don't believe you. The smile on Kang Ming's face froze, and he laughed awkwardly. How is that possible? I'm not the only one in charge of the Heavenly Elixir sect. I just think that it's a pity that you don't have this chance. If you think it's a pity, then give me another Ice Heart pill. Lin Yi said. Forget it then. Kang Ming pouted and turned to ask the other participants. The Dahuan pills were all available, and so after Lin Yi and the others got the pills, they started their journey back. Lin Yi didn't give a clear answer to Tuo Junwang, and Tuo Junwang wasn't in a rush. He planned to walk around in the Central Plains. Now that everyone knew that Tuo Junwang was Lin Yi's follower, no one dared to mess with him. Zhong Naipao had suffered a setback in the test, and he had been feeling a little down lately. He didn't have the mood to mess with Tuo Junwang anymore, and he was very wary of Lin Yi. Lil Qi, I'm going back. Are you going back to the private island? Lin Yi asked. The private island, also known as X Island, it was where Lin Yi trained when he was young, and now the base of the world's biggest assassin organization. Of course, this biggest was limited to the common world. The Yellow Spring sect of the practitioner world couldn't compare. Yeah, I'll go back and discuss it with Lil Ju, and then I'll contact you. Lin Yi Chichi nodded. Lil Ju's problem's settled, so don't go running around. There's too much danger in the practitioner world, it's not for you. Lin Yi didn't want Chichi to risk her life in the practitioner world. Lin Yi could help her now, but he couldn't guarantee that he'd help her every time. Okay. Chichi nodded. I'll call you if I come back to the training world. Good. Lin Yi nodded and said goodbye to Chichi before walking to Feng Shipian, Ji Xian, and Li Siba, who were waiting for him. Boss, we're going back. Feng Shipian said, a little saddened. They'd only known each other for a short time, but their friendship had been established. He didn't know if his father and grandfather would blame him if they found out about this, but he didn't know if they'd go back to the ancient House Feng. After all, a disciple of an ancient sect taking a freelancer as his boss, this was quite shocking. Lin Yi was strong, but there was no guarantee that his family wouldn't object to it. After all, Lin Yi was Nitian's enemy. Although the news hadn't spread yet, Nitian would definitely wake up after taking the recover pill. At that time, it would be clear who hurt him, so Feng Shipian had a headache. Li Siba was more relaxed. Although he was a core disciple of the Holofist Palace, Lin Yi was the one who avenged his fellow disciples. He couldn't avenge his fellow disciples, so he recognized Lin Yi as his boss. Lin Yi taught Zhong Naipao a lesson, and the Holofist Palace certainly couldn't say anything. If someone dared to stand up and blame Li Siba, it meant that he didn't want to avenge his fellow disciples. Who would be such a villain? And Ji Xian, a freelancer, didn't care about what others thought. She just said goodbye to Lin Yi. Boss, I'll go to Donghai City to find you later. Chapter 2907. On the way back, it was still Lin Yi and Chikuan together. Chikuan himself didn't think that he'd actually pass the test. He knew that the hidden house Zhao was here to send him to his death. He knew that, and while he had Lin Yi's protection, Zhao Chikuan was still a little worried before he came. After all, no matter how strong Lin Yi was, he couldn't protect everyone. He didn't expect that they would pass the test and get the pill, but the hidden house Zhao was gone. Chikuan didn't know how to face the hidden house Zhao now. His family stood against him after he left. Although his grandpa and Zhao Qibing wouldn't dare do anything to him after he went back, living in a house like this was a tragedy and torture. Lin Yi looked at Chikuan's unhappy face and patted his shoulder, sighing. Let's go. There are some things you can't choose. Can you choose your grandpa? That's true. Chikuan smiled bitterly. What should I do when I go back? I really don't know what the point of me staying in House Zhao is. My grandpa, why is he so stubborn? Is it just because Zhao Qibing gave him a qi-gathering pill that he let him become the head of the house? Some things are formed under the circumstances of a strange combination of factors. Now, I can't explain it. Under the circumstances at that time, old Zhao's decision was understandable. But now, I have to say that he was very short-sighted. Yeah. Chikuan nodded. Even the ancient sects have a few of them calling you their boss. My grandpa really is. One step at a time, we'll see. With Lin Yi's current position, the way he thought about things was different. In the past, he didn't dare touch the hidden House Zhao and House Yu because he wasn't strong enough. So, he kept their relationship at a balance point, and no one would take a step further. But now, Lin Yi could totally wipe out any hidden house. Chikuan nodded and got in the jeep with Lin Yi, heading home. Tian Chan stood far away, quietly watching as Lin Yi got on the car and drove off. She sighed, endless sorrow after parting with you, we'll always be together, and there will be many obstacles in the future. Naturally, Lin Yi didn't know that behind him stood a girl who missed him. Tian Chan didn't attend the award ceremony, and Lin Yi thought that Tian Chan had already returned to Five Elements sect and wouldn't show her face again. These days, Tianli had been selling everything he had, borrowing from all over the place, but he still couldn't get 200 million. He only managed to get 40 million, and transferred it all to Lang's CEO's account. Just when he was anxiously waiting for the news, Lang's CEO brought him a bolt out of the blue. Boss Liu, it's bad. Because we didn't meet the deadline and gathered enough money to pay the smuggler found the border guards of that small country and reported the news of our smuggling. As a result, the border guards seized all our goods, Xiao Chun said sadly. What? Tianli couldn't help but be shocked, as if he had fallen into an icehouse. Although he was hypnotized, it was only because of his unlimited trust in Little Pure and the belief that this business would bring him a lot of money. Now that his business was in trouble, Tianli was still shocked. He almost had a heart attack. That snake head, why didn't he follow the rules? It's not like we're not giving him the money, we're just delaying it for a while. Why did he? I didn't have a choice, they're all desperados. I want to talk to them, but they won't meet me. Xiaochun sighed, troubled. Why don't I try to find a way through the political connections here and see if I can pass the message? Liu Tianli hesitated. He really didn't want to use House Liu's political connections for this, but the situation was urgent, and he had no other choice. If he didn't use them, then House Liu would be done for. Smuggling was a disgrace to House Liu, but they hadn't done it yet, right? House Liu just had to be flexible and say that the goods were going to be imported legally, but they were confiscated when they were being transported to the small country. That way, things would work. CEO Liu, are you sure you can use your connections? The goods we're smuggling this time are prohibited goods. Xiaochun reminded. Isn't it just tobacco? We're smuggling, but I can be flexible and say that we're going to import legally. Tianli was shocked, but he wasn't stupid. He quickly thought of a solution. CEO Liu, this isn't just tobacco, it's drugs. Xiaochun said. What? Drugs? Tianli was shocked. He couldn't believe it, he almost threw the phone in his hand on the floor. How did cigarettes become drugs? He took a deep breath and came back to his senses. Isn't it cigarettes? How did it become drugs? CEO Lang, you're not joking, are you? Haha. This joke isn't funny at all. CEO Liu, do you think I'm joking with you? Xiaochun said faintly. There's nothing special in those cigarettes. How can they be so good to smoke? That's. Tianli froze, only remembering after Boss Lang reminded him. That's right, Why were these cigarettes so good to smoke, and addictive to the point of it? Could there really be drugs in them? But why didn't he think of it before? Of course, what Tianli didn't know was that it wasn't that he didn't think of it, but that he was hypnotized and didn't think in that direction at all. The hypnotist suppressed his thoughts. CEO Lang, you tricked me? Tianli roared. Director Liu, I thought you knew what was going on, Xiao Chun said calmly. CEO Liu, I thought you knew it yourself. Xiao Chun said slowly. I don't do drugs, how would I know? Tianli raged. I don't take drugs, how would I know? Tianli raged. All the bosses I know smoke cigarettes, how would I know you don't? Xiao Chun said, I saw that you didn't raise any doubts before, so I thought we had a tacit understanding. The purity of this cigarette is so high that people who have never smoked before will feel uncomfortable. I saw that Mr. Liu was enjoying it, so I didn't think too much about it. Chapter 2908. What do I do? I don't have a solution right now. Compared to money, my life is more important. That smuggler said that if I keep causing trouble, he'll kill me. I think. Mr. Liu, I don't want the goods anymore, I don't want the money anymore. If you have the ability, then get the goods out yourself. I'll give it all to you, I don't want to do this anymore. Xiao Chun's voice sounded really down. What? Tianli panicked. Mr. Lang, that's not right. If you leave now, what will I do? You have to know that I'm the one who invested the most money in this. That's why I'm saying, Mr. Liu, if you have the ability, then get the goods out and give it all to you. Xiao Chun said. But how am I supposed to get the drugs? I can't use my connections at all. Not to mention using my connections, even if this gets out, it'll be a fatal blow to House Liu. Tianli said worriedly. House Liu was in the medicine business, and if they got involved with drug trafficking, they'd be done for. That's not within my consideration, Mr. Liu. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's any point in working with us anymore. We'll never meet again. With that, Xiao Chun hung up and said goodbye to Tianli. Mr. Lang. Mr. Lang, you can't do this. Hello. Hello. Fuck you. Tianli couldn't help but curse when he heard Xiao Chun hang up on him. He smashed his phone onto the floor, breaking it into pieces. Tianli breathed heavily, his right hand clutching his chest. His face was twisted, and because of his anger, his eyes were bloodshot. It was a terrifying sight. Mr. Liu, what's wrong? Secretary Zhong heard the sound of the phone smashing on the floor and quickly walked into Tianli's office. What was that sound? Hey, Mr. Liu, your phone, Fu. Tianli took a deep breath. He knew that there was no point in getting angry now. He had to think of a solution. The most important thing right now was to contact Mr. Lang. After all, he didn't even know who the smuggler was. How was he supposed to find a connection? He could only count on Mr. Lang now. Tianli wondered if he could get Mr. Lang to think of a solution. Up until now, he had not doubted Lang's own. It had to be said that the hypnotist's ability was very powerful. Director Liu, don't be angry. What exactly happened? Secretary Zhong felt a little strange and could only ask carefully. Give me your phone and replace my SM card on the floor. Tianli didn't explain much as he ordered Secretary Zhong. Okay, Mr. Liu. Secretary Zhong nodded and picked up the phone parts on the ground. He found Tianli's SM card and put it into his phone before passing it to Tianli. All right, you can leave now. Tianli waved his hand, signaling the secretary to leave. There were some things he didn't want Secretary Zhong to know too much. If the news of him dealing drugs and the company losing money were to be leaked, it would be a huge scandal. The company might even be on the verge of bankruptcy. Tianli didn't dare spread the news. Yes. Secretary Zhong didn't know what was going on, but he didn't dare to ask. He could only leave the office respectfully. After Secretary Zhong left, Tianli dialed CEO Lang's number again, but there was a cold voice on the other side. I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is either switched off or not within the service area. Please check and dial again later. Tianli was stunned. Lang, you're too much. Tianli was furious when he heard that Mr. Lang's phone was switched off. He wanted to smash his phone again, but he held himself back and dialed Mr. Lang's assistant, Kui Miencha's number. But what drove Tianli crazy was that Kui Miencha's phone rang with the same tone. His phone was turned off. Yes, Secretary Zhong. This time, Tianli truly believed it. Mr. Lang really wanted to leave. It wasn't fake. It was real. Mr. Liu. Secretary Zhong heard Tianli's call and quickly came back. He didn't know what he did to piss off Tianli. Was that a curse? Check 2 numbers for me immediately. See if you can locate the location of the most recent calls from these 2 numbers. With that, Tianli wrote down the 2 numbers on a piece of paper and passed it to Secretary Zhong. He didn't say who these 2 numbers belonged to or what the use was. It's best if you can find out the registered information of these 2 numbers as well, Tianli said. Secretary Zhong nodded. Yes. Secretary Zhong got the numbers and went to work. With Tianli's position in the company, it was a piece of cake for him to investigate these things. Secretary Zhong had a lot of acquaintances. Soon, Secretary Zhong reported the results of the investigation to Tianli. What shocked him was that these 2 numbers never left Yangjing at all. They didn't go to that small country at all, and other than calling him, they didn't talk to anyone else at all. This was basically impossible. Mr. Lang wasn't doing business with him alone. Besides, how could they have been in Yangjing all this time? This didn't make sense at all. At this time, even if Tianli trusted Mr. Lang blindly, he realized the problem. He seemed to have fallen into an elaborate trap. Mr. Lang had been lying to him from the start. What the hell is this? This name can be registered on a phone card. Tianli pointed at the list of phone numbers Secretary Zhong brought over. These people are called Wolf Motherfucker and Chue Motherfucker. Who would have names like that? Secretary Zhong was a bit speechless at these 2 names, but he didn't know why Tianli would be so fixated on these 2 names. He could only say weakly, there are all sorts of strange things in this world. What they call themselves is their freedom. Fu. Tianli's breathing became messy after realizing that he had been tricked. Since these 2 were lying to him, it was normal for them to call themselves Wolf Motherfucker. It was already good enough that they didn't call themselves Motherfucker. The most important thing now wasn't to think about these 2's names, he needed to find their whereabouts. Secretary Zhong, get me the information on Mr. Lang right now. I want to see it. Chapter 2909. Tianli, on the other hand, picked up a cigarette, lit it up, and put it in his mouth, frowning. But after taking a puff, he suddenly realized that the cigarette he was smoking was the drug that Mr. Lang gave him. Tianli was scared as if he had been stung by a scorpion. He quickly threw the cigarette on the ground and put it out with his foot. I'm dead, I'm dead. Tianli waved his hand as he continued thinking about the whole thing. Why did he suddenly do something stupid? Why did he believe Mr. Lang's words? Why did he smoke his cigarette? Not only did he smoke it, but he didn't notice anything wrong with it. Tianli couldn't think of a reason no matter how much he thought about it. In the end, Tianli felt that he wanted House Liu to leave Lin Yi too much, and he wanted to find a way out for House Liu himself. That was indeed the case. If Tianli didn't have his own selfish desires, he would never work with Xiaochun on this cigarette business. It was his greed that allowed the hypnotist to take advantage of him. Businessmen were after profits, and it was understandable that Pengzhan got tricked. After all, Pengzhan Industries was a multifaceted group, and Pengzhan Industries was his own boss. Chu Pengzhan's greed was being exploited by the hypnotist. But Tianli couldn't get away with being tricked. House Liu's current business was fully supporting Lin Yi's Miracle Doctor Guan Medicine Company. This was also the foundation that Elder Zhenhu and Liu Jinghan had set for House Liu's future, but Tianli always felt that if they relied on Lin Yi, wouldn't House Liu be done for if Lin Yi died one day? And so, because of his selfishness, Tianli was successfully hypnotized by the hypnotist. Otherwise, if a person had no selfish motives, no matter how powerful the hypnotist was, he wouldn't fall for it if he had a strong will. Tianli held his head, troubled, but he didn't know what to do. Now that something like this happened to the company, how was he going to tell his family? The most important thing was, how was he going to face Lin Yi? Lin Yi. Would he kill him? Not only did he lose House Liu's company, but he also lost the distributor's money and the money he used to buy raw materials for Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Without this money, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company would fall into a cash flow crisis. Tianli knew the severity of the situation, but the more serious it was, the more he didn't dare to confess. Tianli picked up a cigarette and put it in his mouth. He was about to light it up when he suddenly remembered that it was drugs. But, even knowing that it was drugs, Tianli still couldn't pull himself away. His hands were shaking, and he wanted to throw the cigarette away, but he didn't know if it was because of the addiction or because he couldn't resist the temptation of the cigarette, but he still lit it up with trembling hands. Now I have to think of a way. It's fine if I smoke. It won't be too late to quit smoking after I think of a way, Tianli thought to himself. However, he couldn't think of any way at all. When the cigarette entered his mouth, it brought him an indescribable sense of comfort and relief. It made him temporarily forget about his troubles and this matter. Tianli felt like he was on cloud 9. At this moment, he felt that nothing else mattered except for the cigarette. Secretary Zhong took a long time this time. After all, investigating a company and investigating 2 phone numbers were 2 different things. But Secretary Zhong was still quite capable. After going through a few business associations, he still managed to find Mr. Lang's company. However, the company's information made Secretary Zhong frown. Of course, this wasn't something that Secretary Zhong could worry about. He went straight to Tianli's office after getting the information. Seeing the cigarette butts all over the floor, Secretary Zhong paused for a moment, but still said respectfully, "Mr. Liu, I've got the information. Please take a look. Put it over there." Tianli was smoking comfortably. He didn't care about anything else right now, and he wasn't in a rush to look at the information. Okay. Secretary Zhong didn't dare to say anything else. He put the information down and left. After a long time, Tianli finally woke up from his addiction. He remembered about the information and quickly picked it up. But when he flipped to the first page, he froze. President Lang's company was registered in Bermuda. There was no extra relevant information. What could be found were the advertisements and encyclopedia introductions about this company on the search engine. However, these things could not be used as any basis at all. These things could be changed by anyone. Tianli threw the information aside and sighed bitterly. Indeed, since the other party had decided to lie to him, they wouldn't let him find any evidence against them. There was no way they would leave any real information for him to investigate. Sigh. Tianli lowered his head helplessly, his hands grabbing at his hair. He didn't know how to face this. He could only pick up another cigarette and start smoking. 2 disciples of the Dark Palace picked up 2 herbs from the corpses and successfully exchanged them for a chi-gathering pill at the award ceremony. Although the time needed to make it wasn't certain, this was the only way for the Palace Master of the Dark Palace to break through to Sky Class. If the Palace Master still couldn't accept the inheritance at Sky Class, then they would have to find another inheritor. The pressure on the Dark Palace would be huge. The return of the 2 disciples was praised by the highest elder. You 2 did a good job. You were able to pass such a dangerous heavenly elixir sect trial. We will do our best for the Grand Elder. No matter how dangerous it is, we will try our best. The 2 disciples said flatteringly. But, we only got 2 herbs. That's a bit regretful. Why didn't you guys get more? The Grand Elder asked. We had a lot of elixirs to begin with, but who knew that this Linyi guy would come in and take all of it? The 2 disciples from the Dark Palace had been holding a grudge against Linyi since the beginning. If it weren't for Linyi, they would have gotten a lot of elixirs with Naipao, much more than just these 2. But they never thought about what happened when they helped Naipao scam Linyi's friends. Chapter 29:10. They told the Grand Elder about how despicable Linyi was, how hateful he was for stealing their elixirs, adding oil and vinegar to the story. On one hand, they wanted to push the blame away, and on the other hand, they wanted the Grand Elder to take revenge on Linyi, who made them lose face. Naipao was the one who started it, but he was from the everyday sect, and they couldn't afford to piss him off. Naipao took them in as followers and even gave them benefits, so they didn't hold a grudge. Linyi, on the other hand, was a freelancer, and he was the disciple of an ancient sect. How could they accept that? What? Linyi? The Grand Elder paused. Why did the name sound so familiar? Then, she suddenly thought of who this person was. Is it the wild man beside that little bitch? He's participating in the Sky Elixir test. Isn't he an Earth class? You two aren't his match. Ah! The two disciples paused. Why did it sound like the Grand Elder knew Lin Yi? And so, Disciple A asked carefully, Grand Elder, do you know that Lin Yi? You don't have to worry about this, I know. The Grand Elder waved her hand, signaling the two to leave. She, on the other hand, frowned. Everyone could see the anger in her heart. Mengyao's people were bullying the Dark Palace. Wasn't this a blatant provocation? Men. The Grand Elder took a deep breath and yelled. Grand Elder, what's the matter? The one on duty today was Elder Li, and he was outside the door. He heard the two disciples' conversation loud and clear, and he was quite happy. The Miss Bodyguard was this strong. How could an Earth stage cultivator get a place in the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial? Why are you here? The Grand Elder frowned upon seeing Elder Li. She knew that Elder Li was on WNR's side, and that he was very respectful and concerned about Mengyao. I'm on duty today, Grand Elder, Elder Li said, neither servile nor overbearing. Forget it, you are what you are. The Grand Elder thought that Elder Li was only helping Mengyao in the dark. Would he dare to go against his will on the surface? It was a good opportunity to disgust him. May I ask why Supreme Elder is looking for me? When Elder Li saw the Grand Elder's expression, he knew it wasn't something good. He reckoned that the Grand Elder had come up with some vicious plan to punish Lin Yi. Now, send a notice to Lin Yi in the name of the Dark Palace. Tell him to return the 2 elixirs he stole from our disciples. If not, he'll bear the consequences, the Great Elder said. Ah! Elder Li was stunned. He didn't expect that the Grand Supreme Elder would ask him to do this. How was he going to send out the notice? Elder Li's expression was a little awkward. Grand Elder, this isn't too good, right? The Heavenly Elixir Sect will be in charge of everything in the trial. We, the Palace of Darkness, can't do anything about it. If the Heavenly Elixir Sect finds out, it'll be a huge taboo. Lin Yi is just a small freelancer, that bitch's dog. How could the Heavenly Elixir Sect help him? Plus, can Lin Yi go to the heavens? What a joke. The Grand Elder said in disdain, he'll just suffer a loss, he won't dare say it out loud. But, didn't we give those 2 elixirs to the Heavenly Elixir Sect? Where's Lin Yi going to get them back? Elder Li smiled bitterly. Without those 2 elixirs, of course we'll have to get his elixirs back. Are we going to let him get away with it? The Grand Elder hemped coldly, he's just a small freelancer, he only dares to bully our disciples. Why wouldn't he dare to bully the Heavenly Elixir Sect's disciples? What the hell? But, with me, a Sky-class late-phase peak, he'll wet his pants. This. Elder Li was in a difficult position. Wasn't this clearly making things difficult for him? Everything that happened in the trial was up to the heavens. He'd never heard of anyone seeking revenge after the trial. It was fine if there was a life-and-death feud, but to ask for the 2 elixirs back after taking them, wasn't this bullying? Are you going to do it or not? If not, I'll let someone else do it. The Grand Elder saw that Elder Li was hesitating and glared angrily. This. I'll do it, I'll arrange it right now. Elder Li had no choice but to bite the bullet and leave the Grand Elder's room. Then, he sneaked to where WNR was cultivating. How strong was the Grand Elder? She knew all of Elder Li's little tricks. She saw it too, but didn't stop him. It was better if WNR knew. This was the effect that the Grand Elder wanted. If you didn't break through to Sky Class and accept the inheritance, then your family would be bullied. Without pressure, how could you have motivation? The Dark Palace's position was in a precarious position. If the inheritor didn't appear, then the entire future plan would be ruined. That place might do something inhumane in a fit of rage, and the Grand Elder was under a lot of pressure as well. Now that there was the matter with Lin Yi, she could use this as a pretext to pressure Lin Yi a little, making WNR understand that if she didn't train, then her daughter wouldn't have a position. Elder Li told WNR about the order of the highest elder. WNR's face was a bit pale. This was the mature version of the eldest miss. She felt very conflicted at the moment. After an inheritor broke through, the possibility of accepting the inheritance was almost zero. Even if they broke through to Sky Class, it would be hard to understand the inheritance. Wnr knew that the only way for her to reunite with Pengzhan and Mengyaro was to accept the inheritance and become the inheritor. At that time, she would be the true palace master of the Dark Palace, and now, it was just a title. If she couldn't accept the inheritance, then everything would be over. So, this chi-gathering pill of the Dark Palace became the key to turning things around. If she succeeded, then everything would be fine, but if she failed, then it would be an eternal failure. The Grand Elder had no choice but to activate the Dark Phoenix Bloodline Guidance Stone to find another inheritor of the Dark Phoenix Bloodline to accept the inheritance. Chapter 29:11. I understand. Elder Li, please do as the Grand Elder says. Wan aside. This wasn't something she could decide. Her decision to run away from the wedding all those years ago seemed childish and funny, but she didn't regret it. It was her choice. Pengzhan was the love of her life. It was just that he and her daughter had suffered a lot. After all these years, he had become a very successful person in the common world, but in the ancient world, he was nothing in the eyes of the Grand Elder. Yes, Palace Master. Elder Li sighed and said, if we do this, the people around Little Miss will definitely be baffled. Sigh, Wnr pursed her lips and didn't say anything else. She couldn't change the reality in front of her. Luckily, she only wanted Lin Yi to hand over the medicine and elixirs. She didn't cause any more trouble for him, so she was a little relieved. Ancient House Feng Tianhu didn't expect Feng Shipian to come back alive, but he was happy that Feng Shipian brought back the Great Huan Pill. Nitian could be saved. So, even if Feng Shipian wasn't dead, Feng Tianhu was still smiling. Shipian, you've worked hard. You're indeed the first heir of the ancient House Feng, passing such a difficult test. Not bad, not bad. Feng Shipian didn't look like a schemer, but he was actually very smart. There were some things that he didn't want to think too much about, and he didn't want to fight. Looking at his uncle's smile, Feng Shipian smiled and nodded. It's all thanks to the help of a benefactor. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to pass the test. Benefactor? Feng Tianlin came out at this time. He paused after hearing Feng Shipian's words. What benefactor? Father, I recognized a boss in the test. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have passed the test so smoothly. Feng Shipian decided to tell his father about this. It was a blessing, not a curse, and if it was a curse, it couldn't be avoided. He had to say it sooner or later. What? Feng Tianlin heard Feng Shipian's words and frowned. Feng Shipian was his son, the future heir of the ancient House Feng. How could he call someone else boss? Wouldn't the ancient House Feng become someone else's lackey? Feng Shipian, what is the meaning of this? You are a member of the ancient Feng clan. How can you just casually acknowledge someone as your boss? Don't you know that by doing this, you're giving up the right to be the heir? Feng Tianhu didn't wait for Feng Tianlin to say anything else. He knew that Feng Shipian had brought back the Great Recover Pill, and that meant that Feng Nitian could be saved. He also had the intention to push Feng Nitian up again. Even if he couldn't, he still had a trump card. The most important thing now was to remove Feng Shipian's position as the heir. Therefore, as soon as he opened his mouth, he determined Feng Shipian's behavior. It seemed like he was blaming Feng Shipian for failing to live up to his expectations, but in reality, he was saying that Feng Shipian's behavior was no longer suitable for him to become the successor of the young patriarch. How could the successor of the young patriarch acknowledge someone else as his boss? If Feng Shipian became the young patriarch, wouldn't the ancient Feng family become someone else's lackey? Therefore, his words basically cut off Feng Shipian's path of retreat. Elder Feng was a shrewd man. How could he not know what Feng Tianhu meant? However, Feng Tianhu was right. If Feng Shipian acknowledged someone else as his boss, then he naturally wouldn't have the right to be the young patriarch anymore. Oh poem, what you've done is indeed inappropriate. Elder Feng narrowed his eyes and said faintly, you are the successor of the young patriarch. Your every word and action represents the ancient Feng clan. Grandpa, the situation at that time didn't allow me to do otherwise. If I didn't acknowledge that person as my boss, then I wouldn't even be able to come back safely, let alone get the Great Recover Pill. Feng Shipian sighed. He knew that this would happen when he returned home, but he had no choice. Our ancient Feng family's reputation is the most important, Feng Tianhu said, disappointed that he had failed to meet his expectations. Shipian, the boss you acknowledged, which sect is he from? Feng Tianlin tried his best to change the topic. He wanted to know the identity of Feng Shipian's boss. If this boss was a direct disciple of a big sect or even the young patriarch, then it would make sense. The ancient Feng clan wasn't a top-notch existence in the ancient world, but a low-level existence. If they really acknowledged such a boss, it would still be beneficial for the ancient Feng clan. Feng Tianhu frowned. Of course, he knew what Feng Tianlin meant, but he couldn't stop Feng Shipian from saying it. He is called Lin Yi, he's a wandering cultivator. Although Feng Shipian knew that if he said Lin Yi's identity, it would only make Feng Tianhu use it as an excuse to attack him, he didn't want to lie. Lin Yi's identity as a wandering cultivator was something that could be investigated. There was no way to hide it. What? Wandering cultivator? Before Feng Tianhu could speak, Feng Tianlin exclaimed in shock, Shipian, what are you thinking? How can you acknowledge a wandering cultivator as your boss? Do you know how much of a negative impact this will have on the ancient Feng clan? Alright, second brother, let's not talk about Shipian anymore. He's young and it's his first time going out to train. He doesn't know any better, let's not talk about him. Feng Tianhu waved his hand and pretended to be a good person. What's done can't be undone. The only way is to announce to the public that Feng Shipian is not the first in line to be the young patriarch. That way, there won't be any problems. Feng Tianlin's face was very ugly. He was very annoyed by Feng Shipian's reckless behavior. But after all, Feng Shipian was his son, and his personality was somewhat similar to Feng Shipian's. They were both kind people. At this time, he didn't know what to say. He could only say with hatred, Shipian, look at what you've done. Father, I don't think I've done anything wrong. If this matter affects the ancient Feng clan's reputation, I'm willing to take all the responsibility. Feng Shipian said stubbornly, at that time, I wanted to pass the trial and get the spiritual medicine to exchange for the recover pill for my brother. I had to do this. Moreover, it wasn't just me. Li Siba, a disciple of the Holofist Palace, also acknowledged Lin Yi as his boss. Then, Feng Tianhu just wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Old Master Feng. Chapter 29:12. Yes. There is also Ji Xian, a rogue cultivator from the ancient times, who also recognized Lin Yi as his boss. We also successfully completed the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect because of the protection of boss Lin Yi. Feng Shipian nodded and said, Tut. Old Master Feng smacked his lips in surprise and fell into deep thought. The disciples of the Holofist Palace also recognized Lin Yi as their boss. Old Master Feng was very clear about what kind of sect the Holofist Palace was. The Holofist Palace was a model of external cultivation among the ancient sects. It was very powerful. Although it had been a little low-key in recent years, no one could deny the transcendent status of the Holofist Palace. Although the disciples of the Holofist Palace who participated in the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect this time might not be the direct disciples, they must be the core disciples. The core disciples of the Holofist Palace were certainly not fools. This Lin Yi must be extraordinary. Moreover, Old Master Feng had also heard of the name of Ji Xian. Ji Xian was also a character in the ancient times. He was well informed, but he did not join any ancient sects. Such a character could recognize others as his boss. There must be something wrong with this. Feng Shipian, no matter what, this time you have done something that will damage the reputation of the family. During this period of time, you will go to the reflection room and reflect on your mistakes. Don't participate in the other affairs of the family. Old Master Feng finally spoke, and he made the final decision. You participated in the trial this time and got the recover pill. Your merits and demerits offset each other. I will not punish you for anything else. Yes, thank you, Grandpa. Feng Shipian did not expect things to be resolved so easily. In fact, reflecting on his mistakes was similar to cultivation. Otherwise, Feng Shipian often cultivated in seclusion. This punishment was basically equivalent to no punishment for cultivators. Originally, Feng Shipian thought that he would definitely be removed from the title of the first successor of the young master. But now it seemed that Grandpa did not think so. Feng Tianhu's face changed. He did not expect that old Master Feng would settle the matter with just one sentence, but he had no choice and did not dare to say anything more. Tianhu, take the recover pill and give it to Heaven Defying. He is also the disciple with the most potential in our ancient Feng family. It would be great if he could recover. Old Master Feng didn't show any favoritism. He directly hinted to Feng Tianhu that if his son recovered, he would also have a chance to compete. Yes. Thank you, father. Tianhu was overjoyed. He didn't think that this pill would really fall into Nitian's hand. One had to know that he had hoped for it before, but he wasn't sure if he would give it to Nitian. After all, to the ancient house Feng Nitian was just a vegetable, useless. According to some of the cold-blooded noble houses, people like him would be abandoned. Even if they got the great recover pill back, they would keep it in their house for emergencies. They wouldn't give it to anyone easily. The hidden Zhao family was a living example. Old Master Zhao's actions were very cold-blooded and heartless. You can all leave now, do your own things. Old Master Feng finished and turned to leave. The current atmosphere of the ancient house Feng was not good, but Old Master Feng had no choice. Feng Shipian was too weak. If the ancient house Feng was strong, then there would be no problem. No one would be able to do anything to the ancient house Feng, but now the ancient house Feng was just a weak family. If Feng Shipian didn't have any means, then the ancient house Feng would be bullied to death in the future. However, Old Master Feng couldn't think of a good solution. Feng Tianlin and Feng Shipian had similar personalities, and Feng Tianhu and Feng Nitian had similar personalities, but these two personalities were extreme, and neither was suitable to be the head of the house. However, for now, they could only take one step at a time. Old Master Feng could only hope that one of them could change. Holofist Palace. Li Siba's return could be said to be an accident for the Holofist Palace. On the way, Li Siba and a fellow disciple met Zhong Naipao. After being killed by Zhong Naipao, Li Siba went to the Heavenly Elixir sect to participate in the trial. At that time, the disciple who was responsible for collecting the body of the Holofist Palace persuaded Li Siba to quit, but Li Siba still went to the Heavenly Elixir sect firmly. Some people thought that he was stubborn, but others thought that he was being impulsive. He and Zhong Naipao had already become enemies. When he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect for the trial, it was hard to guarantee that Zhong Naipao would not be resentful and attack Li Siba again, leaving him in the trial. Therefore, when Li Siba returned, the people of the sect were very surprised, especially his master, the unparalleled Fist Master. The Holofist Palace and the Everyday sect had always been enemies. The unparalleled Fist Master was currently the head of the Holofist Palace. Although Li Siba was not his last disciple, he was also one of the disciples he was more optimistic about. Previously, he heard that the disciple of the great elder of the Holofist Palace was killed, but his disciple still went to the trial. He was very worried. Although Li Siba's spirit was commendable, it was a bit impulsive to go knowing that it was extremely dangerous. Siba, did you pass the trial? The unparalleled Fist Master asked in surprise. Yes, Master. I've passed the trial and successfully exchanged for a great recover pill. After saying that, Li Siba carefully took out the recover pill from his pocket and presented it to the unparalleled Fist Master. Ah! The unparalleled Fist Master was really shocked this time. He was very surprised that Li Siba could come back alive, but he actually brought back a third-grade recover pill. It was a bit unbelievable. During the trial, did Zhong Naipao make things difficult for you? The unparalleled Fist Master hated Zhong Naipao's guts, not only because he killed a core disciple of the Holofist Palace, but also because he was a disciple of the Everyday sect. The Holofist Palace hated the disciples of the Everyday sect the most. Yes, but your disciple found a boss in the test, and under his protection, not only did I break Naipao's spirit and avenge my fellow disciples, but he also helped me pass the test and get the third-level Great Recovery Pill, Li Siba said truthfully. Oh, you recognized a boss? And broke Zhong Naipao's spirit? What happened? The unparalleled fist master was a little annoyed that Li Siba recognized a boss. The disciples of the Holofist Palace were all outstanding existences. How could they casually recognize a boss? However, when he heard that Zhong Naipao's spirit was broken, he became interested. Seeing the disciples of the everyday and everyday sect in bad luck, the unparalleled fist master was the happiest. Chapter 29:13. This was not a secret, and everyone who participated in the trial knew about it, so Li Siba didn't need to keep it a secret. What? This Lin Yi is just a casual practitioner, how can he be so powerful? Mo Bie and Mo Ju are both dead. Zhong Naipao wouldn't dare to do anything to him. And he actually defeated Zhong Naipao? Peerless Fist Master's eyes widened in disbelief. He was wondering who this Lin Yi was. How could he be so powerful that even the everyday and everyday sect didn't dare to do anything to him? Especially since this was not the first time Lin Yi had defeated Zhong Naipao. In the Ice Palace trial, Zhong Naipao had already suffered a loss, and Lin Yi was still alive and well. This was the most unbelievable thing to Peerless Fist Master. Yes. Li Siba nodded. In fact, I was also very curious before, but after interacting with Boss Lin Yi for a long time, I realized that the strength of a practitioner is actually not related to the level. Boss Lin Yi is an Earth-class master, but he can kill a middle-stage Heaven-class master in seconds. Lin Yi. I've never heard of him before. The unparalleled fighter tried his best to remember this name, but realized that he didn't have this name in his memories. This person had appeared out of nowhere. Of course, the Holofist Palace had never paid attention to Lin Yi before, so it was normal that they had never heard of Lin Yi's name. In fact, I also suspected his background. Li Siba smiled bitterly and said, but I heard from his other follower that there are hidden families and ordinary families among Boss Lin Yi's followers. This shows that Boss Lin Yi should be walking on the road of the strong step by step. At least, there are only 3 followers at the ancient level, me, Feng Shipian and Ji Xian. There was no one before. You have a good analysis. Peerless Fist Master nodded and said in agreement, so, this Lin Yi is even more extraordinary. He has no background, how can he walk on the road of the strong step by step? Why don't I believe it? Li Siba hesitated for a moment and said, but, it seems like that's the case, from the looks of it, some things can't be judged on the surface. What do you think, Pugilist Wu? The unparalleled fist turned his head and looked at the great elder of the sect, the unparalleled fist. He was also a peak late-stage physical expert, but he was a bit weaker than the unparalleled fist. The unparalleled fist had already reached perfection and was only a step away from the heaven rank. Sect leader, I don't think so. This Lin Yi is either a cultivation genius that only appears once in 10,000 years, or he has an extremely powerful background that none of us know about. Otherwise, this doesn't make sense at all. Lawless Fist said after some thought. An extremely powerful background that no one knows about. Can't other people find out? How could the everyday and everyday sect not know? The Matchless Fist Master frowned. The everyday and everyday sect. I don't know if they know or not, but since they're afraid of Lin Yi, they should know something, right? The unparalleled fist said after some thought. No. Logically speaking, this Lin Yi was already very strong in the Ice Palace's test. If he had a background, then Zhong Naipao wouldn't be targeting him in the Sky Elixir sect's test, trying to kill him. The unparalleled fist said with a wave of his hand, if Lin Yi really had a powerful background, would Zhong Naipao still dare to do that? But, sect leader, even if the everyday and everyday sect doesn't know about it, it doesn't mean that Lin Yi doesn't have a powerful background. Could it be that you've forgotten about the 2 heavenly masters who swept through the ancient sects 10 years ago? Wasn't the invincible sect master taken away by them back then? The lawless fist shook his head again. Those 2 people appeared out of thin air, and then disappeared. Before that, who knew about their existence? Logically speaking, they are all the physical cultivators, and they are even beyond the extreme of our knowledge. But our Holofist Palace didn't know that there were 2 such powerful physical masters. That's true. The unparalleled fist master hesitated and fell into deep thought. After a while, he turned to Li Siba and said, Siba, you did a good job this time. Don't break the relationship between you and Lin Yi. Keep in touch with him, but you have to remember that you represent yourself, not our Holofist Palace. Before you know that person's real background, or that person hasn't shown enough strength to look down on the ancient level, you can't use the name of Holofist Palace to associate with here. Yes, Master, I understand. Li Siba was overjoyed. Although he had thought that the matter of him recognizing Lin Yi as his boss would not be opposed by the people in the sect, he did not expect that it would be so smooth, and that the unparalleled Fist Master would agree so much. Of course, Li Siba would not think much about the addition of the unparalleled Fist Master. After all, the Holofist Palace was the top existence among the ancient sects. If they recognized a rogue cultivator as their boss in the name of the sect, the impact would be too great. And the Holofist Palace had given Li Siba the maximum freedom to associate with Lin Yi in his own name. Ah, it's a pity that your junior brother was killed by Zhong Naipao, but Mo Ba and Mo Ju are finished. They have been avenged. The unparalleled Fist Master sighed and said, also, you can keep this recover pill for yourself. It's what you deserve. You don't have to hand it over to the sect. Ah, how can I do that? Li Siba was stunned and a little overwhelmed. Also, you can come to my place to practice tomorrow. From now on, you will be one of my last disciples, and you will be treated the same as the other last disciples. The unparalleled Fist Master was a man who knew how to adapt to circumstances. He also saw that Lin Yi was unusual, so he began to prepare to train Li Siba. Ah, thank you, Master. Li Siba was surprised and happy, and quickly knelt on the ground. He never dreamed that after recognizing Lin Yi as his boss, it would bring him so many great benefit. And the unparalleled Fist Master did not oppose it. Instead, he was very supportive of the unparalleled Fist Master's decision. He smiled and said, when you have time to see Lin Yi, thank him for avenging my disciple. I can't come forward to take revenge. If it was any other time, I could only pinch my nose and accept it. But this time, I can vent my anger. Yes, Grand Elder, your disciple will convey your message. Li Siba quickly replied. Chapter 29:14. Chunyang, what happened to Pao? How come he's like this? Didn't he successfully pass the trial and obtain a marrow and bone cleansing pill for me? Isn't that a good thing? Pin Liang looked at Chunyang curiously. Do you know why? I'm not sure. I'll go ask later and report to you, Master. What do you think? Chunyang shook his head. All right. Pin Liang nodded. Part of the soul in his body belonged to the Mad Dragon Master, but his care for Naipao came from the bottom of his heart. He'd always treated Naipao as his right-hand man. Chunyang knew this as well. He knew that Naipao had an unusual position in the sect, and so he didn't dare tarry. He went straight to Naipao's training area. Naipao. Chunyang walked into Naipao's room, and Naipao was still sitting there, dumbfounded. He didn't even notice Chunyang's arrival. Logically speaking, Naipao was a sky class, and his senses were quite strong. Not noticing Chunyang's arrival could only mean that his mind was elsewhere. Ah, it's Master. Naipao came back to his senses after being called. He raised his head and looked at Chunyang. Master, why are you looking for your disciple? Naipao, did something happen in the test this time? Pure Yang looked at Naipao and asked. Master. Naipao hesitated, but decided to speak the truth. Yes, Master, this test was a huge blow to your disciple. Oh, what happened? You clearly passed the trial and even obtained the trial spirit medicine to exchange for the marrow and bone washing pill for Master Wild Dragon. These are all good things. Why did you suffer such a huge blow? Heavenly Venerable Pure Yang was baffled when he heard that. He did not understand what was going on. Master, don't praise your disciple. If it weren't for Lin Yi, I'd be dead by now. You can't see your disciple right now. I'm already in the 5 Evils Barrens. Naipao smiled bitterly. What do you mean? You're saying Lin Yi saved you? Chunyang was a little surprised. Weren't Lin Yi and Naipao enemies? How was Lin Yi able to save Naipao? What the hell was going on? Did the two make up? That shouldn't be. That's right. But your disciple almost died because of Lin Yi as well. You could say that Lin Yi's success and Lin Yi's failure. Naipao nodded. What do you mean now? Lin Yi defeated you and even saved you. Pure young Empyrean found it increasingly inconceivable. Master, it's actually like this. Naipao told him everything that had happened in the Five Fiends Barons to the pure young master in detail, including the part where Lin Yi killed his right-hand man. It was only now that Chunyang realized that Mo Ba was killed by Lin Yi, and Mo Ju was beaten into a vegetative state by Lin Yi. These two weren't attacked by spirit beasts in the Five Evils Barons, the culprit was actually Lin Yi. But Chunyang was shocked. Lin Yi was an Earth-class late phase, and he was able to kill Mo Ba and Mo Ju, two Sky-class mid-phase masters. And with an instant kill. That was fine, but Naipao's Dark Demon Fist, and Lin Yi was able to come up with a Hellfire Fist. What the hell was this? How did it come out? Naipao was the disciple of the Chrysanthemum Arts, Master Kai Yu, and he couldn't even beat a random practitioner like Lin Yi. This didn't make sense, did it? But the truth was right there in front of him, and the soulless look on Naipao's face didn't look like he was lying. The only explanation was that Lin Yi was too strong, and no one else was a match for him. Lin Yi. He's already this strong? Chunyang frowned, not relaxing for a long time. So, if our everyday sect wants to touch him, we'll need a master of my level? Not really. If it weren't for Lin Yi's mid-tier golden cicada underwear, he wouldn't have been able to hurt me so easily. Naipao smiled bitterly. Anyway, it's a freak accident. Chunyang patted Naipao's shoulder and stood up. These things are the demons in your heart. Your training is stuck on this, and once you break through it, you'll be able to move forward. What do you mean? Naipao paused. Chunyang shook his head and didn't say anything else. He turned and left his room. Naipao fell into deep thought in his room. Chunyang, on the other hand, went straight to Pinliang's place. Master Mad Dragon, I've understood Zhong Naipao's journey in the Tess. This is what happened. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang told Zhong Pinliang everything he knew. Oh. So, Pao suffered a blow in the test, and couldn't get back up. Zhong Pinliang frowned after hearing Pure Yang's words. How did Lin Yi become so powerful? That's right, Naipao did suffer a blow. However, this is actually a good thing. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang said. Good thing? What do you mean? Pinliang paused, and then a look of understanding appeared on his face. The second stage of the Chrysanthemum Arts, full mastery. Before breaking through to the third stage, one has to experience the demons in their heart. Without that, one won't be able to break through. That's right, it seems like Master has thought of it too. Chunyang nodded. Pinliang had the memories of the Mad Dragon Master, but because of the short period of time, he still couldn't fully integrate it. Sometimes, there would be pauses. It seems like Lin Yi did us a big favor again. Pinliang smiled. But, if Pao can't successfully walk out of the demons in his heart and pull himself together, won't he be stuck in this situation for the rest of his life? Master, there's no other way. You know that to practice the Chrysanthemum Arts, one has to go through this. Chunyang shrugged helplessly. If the Chrysanthemum Arts were so easy to practice, would our everyday sect be suppressed by the Five Elements sect? That's true. I hope Pao can successfully break through. Pinliang nodded. Hakunamata Mountains, Fiery Mountain Sect. Chapter 29:15. Old Head, you have to help me think of a way. Young Shirasian is my most outstanding grandson, which is equivalent to your grandnephew. He died just like that, and he died so miserably. Young Dingtian said in a sorrowful tone. Ahem. Dingtian, I understand how you feel, but life and death in a trial is determined by fate. Young Shirasian went to participate in the trial and didn't come back. It can only be said that he was unlucky, and we can't do anything about it. Dingtian, I'm sorry for your loss. Bazooka comforted helplessly. Old Head, you don't know this, but I just got the news. Our Shirasian wasn't killed by a spirit beast in the trial, but by Zhong Naipao of the Everyday Sec. Young Dingtian said sadly. What? Zhong Naipao of the Everyday Sect killed him? Bazooka's face changed. If young Shirasian had died a violent death, then Fire Mountain could only blame it on their bad luck. But being killed by someone else was a different story. This wasn't just a matter of hatred, It was also a matter of face for Fire Mountain. Are you sure? Yes. Old head. Young Dingtian nodded. That grandson of mine found a relatively safe place in the Sky Elixir sect's test, and he was just about to rest in there when Zhong Naipao, a disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect, who was also resting there, suddenly attacked him. Not only did he not allow my grandson to rest, he even tried to steal his medicine, and when my grandson didn't give it to him, he attacked and killed my grandson. Although young Dingtian was exaggerating, the truth wasn't far from the truth. This Zhong Naipao is too arrogant, Bazooka said in a low voice. Does he think that our Fire Mountain is easy to bully? Old head, this isn't a problem of being easy to bully. The Everyday and Everyday sect is not someone we can mess with, Yang Dingtian said with red eyes. If he could mess with them, he wouldn't need to ask the fire leader for help. He would have gone to the Everyday and Everyday sect himself for revenge. Where did you get this news from? Is it accurate? Bazooka also had a bit of a headache. Indeed, the Everyday and Everyday sect was the same as the Five Elements sect, a sect that came down from the immemorial level. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Although these two sects were no longer Taigu sects, they were still stronger than other ancient sects, right? This is the information that young Master Burning Cloud found out. It shouldn't be fake, Yang Dingtian said. Oh. Did Fire Cloud find out about it? Rocket Launcher was stunned for a moment before he said, ask Burning Cloud to come here immediately and tell me everything in detail. Yes. Yang Dingtian responded and walked to the door. He gave a few instructions to a disciple on duty, and the disciple quickly left. Not long after, a dark-skinned young man walked into the room respectfully. His eyes were red, as if he had just been crying. Hua Xiaoyun greets grandfather and great elder. Burning Cloud, what's going on? Rocket Launcher asked. Grandfather, Shirasian Bro was indeed killed by Zhong Naipao from the Everyday and Everyday sect. Young Shirasian and Hua Xiaoyun grew up together, trained together, and the sect had purposely raised young Shirasian to be Hua Xiaoyun's right-hand man, to take over the position of Great Elder. Hence, the two of them were very close. They weren't blood brothers, but they were closer than blood brothers. Now that the news of young Shirasian's death came, Hua Xiaoyun was extremely sad and hated Zhong Naipao to the bone. This time, Hua Xiaoyun's story was more detailed, and there were some differences from what Yang Dingtian said. Although young Shirasian was a bit arrogant, it was Zhong Naipao who provoked him first, and Hua Xiaoyun didn't side with young Shirasian. He was only telling the truth. It seems like we are also to blame. Young Shirasian was too impulsive. Rocket Launcher couldn't help but sigh after hearing this. Old Master, who hasn't been impulsive in their youth? Back then, when you and I were young, didn't we also think that we were number one in the world? Yang Dingtian said sadly. That's true, Sai. But, if this Zhong Naipao was a disciple of another ancient sect, then we could still question him, but this Everyday and Everyday sect. Although Rocket Launcher didn't continue, what he meant was that they couldn't afford to mess with them. Yang Dingtian was silent as well. Indeed, the Everyday and Everyday sect wasn't something they could mess with. If the two sects were to really clash, the one who would suffer in the end would be Fiery Mountain. Grandpa, Grand Elder, I have an idea. Hua Xiaoyun saw that the two were silent, and hesitated. Oh, what idea? Rocket Launcher raised his head and looked at Hua Xiaoyun. The Everyday and Everyday sect and Zhong Naipao are domineering, but it's not like no one can stop them. Hua Xiaoyun had wanted to say this a long time ago, but saying it out would weaken Fiery Mountain's momentum. What do you mean? You mean the Five Elements sect? Rocket Launcher paused. Of course not. It's impossible for the people of the Five Elements sect to form an alliance with our Fiery Mountain sect. We're just a pawn in their plan. Although we're just using each other, they're high and mighty existences, so how could they care about our matters? Hua Xiaoyun shook his head. Plus, the Everyday and Everyday sect is also an important part of that plan. Then you mean? Rocket Launcher looked at Hua Xiaoyun curiously. In this trial, there was a wandering practitioner named Lin Yi. Hua Xiaoyun changed the topic and told Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian about Lin Yi's actions in the trial. After that, Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian fell into shock. After a while, Rocket Launcher said, You mean, Lin Yi killed Mo Ba and Mo Ju, and nothing happened? Not only did Zhong Naipao not do anything to him, but the everyday sect didn't do anything to him either? That's right. Of course, that's not all. After I noticed this Lin Yi wandering practitioner, I did some research and found out some other things. Hua Xiaoyun continued, in the Ice Palace trial, Lin Yi crippled Zhong Naipao, but the everyday sect didn't do anything to him. So, there must be something wrong with this Lin Yi? Bazooka's face showed a pondering look. You mean, we can work with Lin Yi and ask for his help to teach the everyday sect a lesson, Hua Xiaoyun said. Chapter 29:16. Plus, Lin Yi didn't kill Naipao this time, so it was obvious that he didn't want to kill Naipao. Otherwise, why would he walk out of the Five Fiends wildlands with the crazed Naipao, and the Naipao who was fine after that? Because Lin Yi is the boss of my sworn brother, Hua Mingyun said. Your sworn brother? You mean 2Ba Wang? Rocket Launcher heard Hua Mingyun's words and immediately knew who his sworn brother was, but he was surprised. Lin Yi is 2Ba Wang's boss? What happened? 2Ba Wang also participated in the Sky Elixir sect's trial this time, but before he could enter the Five Evils wildlands, he was attacked by Naipao and became a vegetable. As he spoke, Hua Mingyun told Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian about 2Ba Wang's experience in the Sky Elixir sect. Fiery Mountain and Yellow Earth High sect were both in the west, and the two sects had a good relationship. Hua Mingyun and 2Ba Wang were sworn brothers, and the reason why Hua Mingyun had so much information about the trial was also because of 2Ba Wang. Although 2Ba Wang didn't participate in the trial, he had already found out about everything that happened in the inn after the trial. 2Ba Wang didn't say much about how strong Lin Yi was, but what he could say was enough to prove how strong Lin Yi was. From Hua Mingyun's point of view, 2Ba Wang wouldn't lie to him, and 2Ba Wang was a very proud person, similar to young Shurasian. If Lin Yi wasn't strong, why would he call Lin Yi his boss? This way, Fiery Mountain's revenge plan would fall on Lin Yi. Young master, as you said, if Lin Yi is really so strong, then our Fiery Mountain should indeed have a good relationship with him. I know 2Ba Wang's personality. If Lin Yi wasn't capable, he wouldn't have submitted. Yang Dingtian said. That's true. But, even if we have a relationship with a local tyrant, why would we ask Lin Yi for help? Can Lin Yi help us? Rocket Launcher shook his head. According to Burning Cloud, this Lin Yi is a master. It was very difficult for a local tyrant to recognize him as his boss. In the end, because of his relationship with Ran Ran, Lin Yi reluctantly agreed. If we suddenly appear to look for him, will he even care about us? This is Sai. Fuming Cloud also felt that Lin Yi was difficult to approach. If he were to look for Lin Yi rashly, Lin Yi might just ignore him. He immediately felt a little discouraged. Young head, Shuaizhen is your loyal subordinate. You can't let him die in vain. When Yang Dingtian saw that Hua Hongyun was discouraged, he immediately became anxious. If Yang Shuaizhen died, he wouldn't be able to take it lying down. Dingtian, don't worry. Even without Shuaizhen, this Lin Yi is so powerful that even the Yellow Earth High sect's 2Ba Wang recognized him as his boss. Our Fiery Mountain naturally won't be outdone, Rocket Launcher said. But, this matter needs to be considered. We want to rope in Lin Yi, but it's not as simple as that. We have to pay attention to some methods, right? Although Fiery Mountain and Yellow Earth High sect had a good relationship, and Fuming Cloud and 2Ba Wang were good brothers, the more it was like this, the more the two sects would compete with each other. It was like how people usually like to compare themselves with the people around them, but not many people would compare themselves with strangers who were far away from them. Yeah, Grand Elder, regarding young Shurasian's matter, I will definitely go to the everyday sect to demand an explanation. Fuming Cloud nodded. Yang Dingtian didn't really want Zhong Naipao to pay with his life, but mainly because he couldn't stand the arrogance of the everyday sect. It wasn't the first time that the everyday sect had bullied other ancient sect. Yang Dingtian didn't only have one grandchild. He had two, and with one dead, there was still one left. It was just that this one wasn't as strong as the other, so Yang Dingtian felt that young Shurasian's death was a very unfortunate thing. Lin Yi sent Chikuan to the door of the hidden house, but he didn't go in. Chikuan's face was very conflicted. He had come back to the place he grew up in, but he didn't feel any sense of belonging at all. Boss, I really don't want to go back to this house. I don't even know how I'll face them when I go back. Chikuan sighed as he got off the car unwillingly. I don't know why your grandpa is so stubborn. If I were him, I'd let you be the head of the house. There's no one more suitable than you. Lin Yi shook his head. He really couldn't understand the situation of the Zhaos. Even if Chibing had gotten a qi gathering pill and gave it to old Zhao, allowing him to become a sky class, Chikuan had also gotten a danback this time. Whatever, no matter what, I have to go back. Where else would I go? Chikuan shook his head and walked towards the door. Chikuan's return didn't cause much of a commotion. In fact, no one even bothered with him. Chikuan just walked into the house and back to his room. On the way, he didn't meet anyone from the Zhaos. The servants and disciples all ignored him as well, as if he didn't exist. He shook his head with a bitter smile. He had expected this, so he wasn't angry at all. He stopped a disciple at the door and asked, "Where are these people? Where's my grandpa?" Young Master Tan, the head of the Zhao family, and Master Bing are both out, and the head of the house is busy as well. There's no one in the house right now, so we don't know how to deal with you when you're back, young Master Tan. Please don't make it hard for us. The disciple said worriedly. Chikuan paused, realizing that there was no one in charge in the house anymore. But it wasn't the fault of the servants. He had been under house arrest all this time, and the disciples knew that. They didn't know how to treat him. If they treated him warmly, and if old Zhao didn't like it when he came back, they'd be the ones in trouble. If they locked him up like before, what if old Zhao didn't want to be locked up anymore? Then they'd be the ones in trouble, and so they might as well just ignore Chikuan. That way, nothing would go wrong. Chapter 29:17. Thank you, Master Tan. The disciple thanked him profusely and left, leaving Chikuan pacing back and forth in the room, waiting for old Zhao and the others to come back. The reason why old Zhao wasn't home was because he had an appointment with a few important people today, and he was having a secret meeting in House Yu's meeting room. Ever since Chikuan was taken away by Lin Yi, old Zhao had been restless. If Lin Yi dared to kill him, then he could only watch. With such a dangerous hidden danger, old Master Zhao definitely couldn't let him wander around in front of his eyes. When the news of Chikuan passing the test came back, old Zhao felt like it was the end of the world. Chikuan was home, and with Lin Yi behind him, what was he going to do? If Lin Yi wanted Chikuan to be the head of the house, forcing him to step down, forcing Chibing to give up, what was he going to do? And so, Elder Zhao finally couldn't hold it in any longer. He sent invitations to the hidden houses and sects that had a grudge against Lin Yi, to discuss how to get rid of Lin Yi. Old Zhao invited the Hidden House Yu, Qianshan sect, Jinzhong sect, and the Firewolves. These were all houses and sects that hated Lin Yi, but the Hidden House Yu didn't come. Old Zhao knew that the Hidden House Yu wouldn't come, but he didn't think much of it. He just thought that House Yu and House Zhao were at odds because of Chibing and Yu Ning, so they didn't want to participate in the secret meeting. In fact, when old Yu saw the words "Fight Lin Yi" together on the invitation, he threw it away. He didn't want to inform Lin Yi, but he had no interest in participating. Unknowingly, Elder Yu had already started to adjust the Hidden House Yu's future plans, especially after Yu Ning's incident. Elder Yu's attitude towards Lin Yi had changed a little. Of course, old Zhao didn't know about this. In the meeting room, other than old Zhao, there was old Yu of the Hidden House Yu, Qianshan sect's Master Wo, Jinzhong sect's Master Jin, and Firewolves and Ming Yu. The reason why the meeting was held at House Yu was because the last Hidden House meeting was held at House Zhao, so this time it was a different place. Qianshan sect and Jinzhong sect were both in the mountains, and it wasn't easy to get in. And Ming Yu of the Fire Wolves was only the person in charge of Donghai City, and she didn't have a headquarters. So, the Hidden House was the best place for the meeting. Both the Qianshan sect and the Golden Clock sect hated Lin Yi to the bone, and they couldn't wait to kill Lin Yi for revenge. Whether it was the Wo sect's master or the Jin sect's master, all of their important figures had died in Lin Yi's hands, especially the Qianshan sect's spirit beast. The Firewolves, on the other hand, wanted to kill Lin Yi, so Ming Yu came here without hesitation. As for the Hidden House Yu, They wanted Zhongliju's notes. If Lin Yi died, then Han Jingjing would be easy to deal with. As long as Right Coiling Tiger could get Han Jingjing, everything would be solved. The problem was that if Lin Yi didn't die, Han Jingjing wouldn't accept Right Coiling Tiger. So, these people could be said to be working together. Old Zhao, you're the one who started the meeting to kill Lin Yi. Tell us, do you have a way to deal with Lin Yi? Master Wu asked impatiently. If he had the strength, he would have killed Lin Yi a long time ago. If I had a way, I wouldn't have gathered everyone here. Elder Zhao sighed with a bitter smile. The main reason I'm here is to get everyone to brainstorm and see if there's any way we can get rid of Lin Yi. As everyone knows, Lin Yi's strength is getting stronger and stronger. If we don't do it now, then we won't have another chance in the future. Back then, during the Hidden House Summit, it was a golden opportunity, but we missed it. Old Zhao, if you didn't fight with House Yu's Old Yu, our plan would have succeeded. We can't blame anyone else for this. Old Yu interrupted faintly. This. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Old Yu, do you have a good idea? Old Master Zhao narrowed his eyes and looked at Old Master Yu, who interrupted. Since Old Master Yu is so anxious, you must have a well-thought-out plan. PH, don't talk about useless things. I'm a sky class, but I'm only a refiner. In terms of fighting, I'm not even an earth class. What can I do? Old Yu hemphed coldly. Okay, stop arguing. We're here to discuss important matters, not to argue. Let's talk one by one. Gate Master Jin waved his hand and stopped the two from arguing. Our Golden Bell Gate is declining day by day, and this is all thanks to Lin Yi. There's nothing else we can offer. Everyone knew that Gate Master Jin was telling the truth. Jin Wudi was dead, and so were a few of the best disciples of Golden Bell Gate. Golden Bell Gate was just an empty shell, and they couldn't rely on him. If Lin Yi has a spirit beast, I can control it for a short period of time so that it won't attack us. Our Chenshan Gate has a secret technique that can make a spirit beast lose its strength in a short period of time. Gate Master Wu said. That's right, Gate Master Wu's idea is very useful. Lin Yi has a spirit beast by his side, and we have to be on guard. Old Zhao nodded in agreement. Mr. An, do you have any suggestions? I think that Gate Master Wu's suggestion reminds me. Can we poison Lin Yi? As far as I know, if we want to fight with Lin Yi head-on, all of us together are no match for Lin Yi. And Mingyu said, we're just going to die if we go. If we can poison Lin Yi and win with our wits, that's the way of the king. That makes sense. Old Zhao nodded in agreement. We are indeed no match for Lin Yi, but poison. I heard that Lin Yi is also a medical expert. Our king pharmacist is no match for him. Hehe, what's your king pharmacist? Old Yu said with some disdain, your king pharmacist is nothing in the eyes of our Hidden Yu family. Chapter 29:18. Lin Yi can cure normal poisons, but what about special ones? After I go back, I can contact the Sky Elixir sect and use some special poisons to poison Lin Yi. No matter how good Lin Yi is, it'll be useless. Old Yu said confidently. Oh, that's great. Old Zhao heard this and didn't feel unhappy at all. He said happily, then I'll leave this to you, Old Yu. Don't be happy too early. Old Yu waved his hand. It's not hard to get the poison, but how do you make Lin Yi eat it? Tem. Old Zhao realized that this was indeed a difficult problem because he didn't have a chance. It was fine during the Hidden House Summit, but now, he had to invite Lin Yi for a meal. It would be weird if Lin Yi didn't have his guard up. I'll leave this to you, Old Zhao. I'll think of something about the poison, and you guys think of something else, Old Yu said. What kind of excuse do we use to invite Lin Yi for Lin Yi to come? Old Zhao started thinking about how to poison Lin Yi. Right, I say, Old Zhao, that Zhao Chikuan from your house, isn't he Lin Yi's follower? If he invites Lin Yi, he should come, right? And Mingyu spoke up. This old bastard was as mean as Jianwen, always doing immoral things. One of them was the same as the other. That's true, but Zhao Chikuan is on Lin Yi's side. If I ask him to harm Lin Yi, he won't agree for sure. He might even leak the secret. Old Zhao shook his head. I say, Old Zhao, can't you be flexible? You can find an excuse and trick that Zhao Chikuan into inviting Lin Yi for a meal, right? And Mingyu suggested. Oh. After Lord Zhao heard An Mingyue's words, his eyes immediately lit up, and he said, "You really woke me up with a single word." This time, Zhao Chikuan passed the test smoothly, and I can hint to him that my thoughts have changed. I'm interested in making him the head of the house, and have him invite Lin Yi over to discuss this in detail. What do you guys think? Good idea. This way, Zhao Chikuan won't suspect anything. You've invited Lin Yi for a reason as well. Zhao Chikuan won't suspect anything, and Lin Yi won't suspect anything either. When the time comes, we'll just have to figure out how to drug it. Wo clapped. Haha, in that case, I'll go talk to Zhao Chikuan when I get back. Elder Zhao sighed in relief after deciding on the plan. Then let's end the meeting here. We'll do our own research, and when the time comes, we'll give Lin Yi a fatal blow. After everyone left, Old Man Yu went to contact the Heavenly Elixir sect. He was very enthusiastic about killing Lin Yi. If Lin Yi was dead, Han Jingjing's matter would be easy to handle. The Yu family had always had this idea. After so many years of working behind the Heavenly Elixir sect, they had long wanted to enter the ancient level. Of course, the Yu family's current strength was not enough. There were too few heaven rank experts. If House Yu's alchemy skills improved by leaps and bounds, then who could stop them from reaching the ancient level? However, it was impossible to rely on Sky Elixir sect's help. Not to mention that Sky Elixir sect wouldn't impart their alchemy skills without reservation. Even if House Yu learned these skills, they weren't willing to see House Yu grow and become an existence on equal footing with Sky Elixir sect. Therefore, if House Yu wanted to advance, they could only accumulate their own strength and think of their own ways. The alchemist's notes in Lin Yi's hands was the best opportunity. If they got it, although House Yu's strength wouldn't increase much in recent years, as time went by, House Yu would become stronger and stronger. Therefore, in order to prevent Sky Elixir sect from being afraid, Old Yu didn't directly contact Sky Silkworm transformation. Instead, he contacted Sky Elixir sect's 8th elder, Kang Ming Ming. Old Yu also knew that Kang Ming Ming and Lin Yi had a grudge. At this moment, Sky Elixir sect's trial had just ended. Kang Ming Ming was discussing alchemy matters in Ancestor Xuanshen's room. Master, currently, the Sky Elixir sect's futures pills are only the chi-gathering pill that we promised to give to Lin Yi, the chi-gathering pill that Dark Knight Palace wants in this trial, and the bone-cleansing pill that Everyday sect want. Kang Ming Ming said, "What's the order of refining these pills? Also, who's going to refine them? Only you can refine the bone-cleansing pill. No one else can refine it. However, we have to give Lin Yi an extreme chi-gathering pill to pretend to be a chi-gathering pill. This is a secret and only the two of us know about it. Therefore, only you can refine this pill. As for the chi-gathering pill, I can let Xian Zhan or the other elders of Sky Elixir sect refine it." Ancestor Shen Chen said after some thought. "Then, of the two pills in my hands, which one should I refine first?" Kang Ming Ming nodded and asked. "The two pills you have and the one from Everyday sect have nothing to do with our future plans. We're just giving them face. You should refine Lin Yi's extreme chi-gathering pill first. Cripple Lin Yi first. This kid is always loitering in front of me. I feel uneasy," Ancestor Shen Chen said. "Yes, Master." Kang Ming Ming was overjoyed. He actually wanted to deal with Lin Yi, but he didn't have the right to make a decision on such a big matter. He could only wait for Ancestor Xuanshen's instructions. Kang Ming Ming had just finished speaking when his phone rang. He was shocked. He took out his phone and was about to hang up when he hurriedly explained, "Master, I was in a hurry and forgot to turn off my phone. Who called?" Ancestor Shen Chen waved his hand and asked indifferently, "You answer it." "This is the Hidden Yu family." Kang Ming Ming glanced at the caller ID and was stunned. He had the phone number of the Hidden Yu family, but he didn't know why they called. Kang Ming Ming wasn't particularly familiar with the Hidden Yu family. "Oh, ask him what's the matter," Ancestor Shen Chen said. "Okay, Master." Kang Ming Ming nodded and picked up the phone. "Hello. I'm Kang Ming Ming. Elder Kang, I'm the family master of the Hidden Yu family." Elder Yu said carefully and respectfully. Kang Ming Ming's status was not the same as before. He naturally had to be careful. "It's Elder Yu. What's the matter? Kang Ming greeted him. Chapter 29:19. Say it, it's fine. Although Kang Ming didn't know what Elder Yu wanted to say, in front of Elder Shen Chen, Kang Ming couldn't say that it was inconvenient. Wouldn't that mean that he had something to hide from Elder Shen Chen? So Kang Ming could only say that it was fine. It's like this, Elder Kang. I heard that you have a grudge with Lin Yi. Elder Yu asked. What do you mean? What do you want to say? Kang Ming's nerves tightened as he asked in a deep voice. Elder Kang, I just want to say that now, there is an opportunity to kill Lin Yi. Elder Yu heard that Kang Ming seemed to be angry and quickly explained, now, Hidden House Zhao's Elder Zhao wants to deal with Lin Yi and wants to poison him. It's like this, Elder Yu didn't hide it and told Kang Ming about Elder Zhao wanting to use Zhao Chikuan as bait to invite Lin Yi for a meal and then poison him. Oh, why are you telling me about this? If House Zhao wants to kill Lin Yi, then kill him. I'll be happier if he does. Kang Ming was a little puzzled. Elder Yu called him to tell him this just to make him happy. No, the current situation is that Hidden House Zhao doesn't have a poison that can poison Lin Yi, so they asked us for help. However, we don't have the confidence that we can make Lin Yi not notice the existence of the poison. After all, Elder Kang, you know that Lin Yi's attainments in medicine are also very high. Old Master Yu said, so, I want to ask Elder Kang if there is any suitable poison. In this way, I can help Old Master Zhao. Elder Yu only said that Hidden House Zhao wanted to kill Lin Yi with poison, but he wouldn't say that he wanted to kill Lin Yi. It seemed that he was just building a bridge for Hidden House Zhao. Oh, is that so? Alright, I got it. I'll give you an answer after I study it. Kang Ming understood Old Master Yu's meaning, but he did not immediately agree. After all, this matter had to be discussed with Patriarch Shen Chen. Okay, Elder Kang, then I will wait for the good news, Old Master Yu said quickly. After hanging up the phone, Kang Ming did not hide anything. He told Patriarch Shen Chen everything that Old Master Yu had said and asked him to make a decision. Isn't this a good thing? After hearing that, Patriarch Shen Chen did not express any objections. Instead, he agreed. This way, someone can help us kill Lin Yi. We don't have to do anything. It saves us trouble. But, that poison. Kang Ming didn't know how to make any poison. As for the poison, I have to look up some information. Lin Yi is not a simple person. Ordinary poisons can't fool him. We have to get something special. Patriarch Shen Chen pondered and said, Okay, Master. Then I will call Old Master Yu back and tell him that we will help. Kang Ming asked. Sure, but this matter must be kept secret. Don't tell anyone else, Patriarch Shen Chen said. Don't worry, Master. This is our enemy. It has nothing to do with others. I won't say anything, Kang Ming nodded and promised. Kang Ming went to call Old Master Yu, and Patriarch Shen Chen went to look up information about poisons. At this time, Old Master Zhao had just returned to Hidden House Zhao. When he found out that Chikuan had come back at this time, he was a little surprised. He gave Chibing, who was driving, a look. Chibing, you go to your room first. Cooperate with us for the next few days, don't let anything go wrong. He was afraid that Chibing would cause trouble without knowing the truth, so he told Chibing his plan on the road. He was going to get rid of Lin Yi with Chikuan's help. So, Chibing could pretend to be messing around these days, but he couldn't do anything else, because the position of the young master would still be his. Don't worry, Grandpa. I know what I'm doing. Chibing nodded and went back to his room. Old Master Zhao, on the other hand, went to Chikuan's room. Dang dang dang. Standing in front of Chikuan's room, Old Master Zhao knocked on the door. Who is it? Come in, Chikuan said casually. The door was pushed open, but no one spoke. Chikuan paused and raised his head, only to see Old Zhao. He was even more shocked. Old Master Zhao had come to his room personally. This surprised Chikuan, and he felt a little flattered. After all, he had been hiding in House Zhao and was under house arrest. Old Master Zhao had ignored him for a long time, and he was used to it. Grandpa, why are you here? Chikuan was disappointed in Old Master Zhao, but he was still his grandpa. He still had to be respectful. Old Master Zhao didn't say anything. After entering the room, he sat on the sofa and looked at Chikuan silently. Grandpa. Chikuan was even more puzzled. What did Old Master Zhao mean by this? Why didn't he say anything when he came in? Chikuan. You passed the test. Old Master Zhao finally spoke. He looked at Chikuan, his eyes complicated. Yeah, Grandpa, I'm back. Chikuan thought. Wasn't this bullshit? But he still replied respectfully. Chikuan, was the test dangerous this time? Lin Yi. He's pretty strong, to be able to bring you through such a dangerous test. Old Master Zhao's words made Chikuan even more confused. He didn't know what he was talking about. Grandpa, you came to find me. Chikuan was confused. I got the pill and completed the mission, but Elder Bai. Isn't he dead? You're the one who got the pill, so naturally you can decide how to use it. Even if Elder Bai doesn't die, you're the one who calls the shot. Old Master Zhao waved his hand. I heard that Lin Yi's really strong now. Strong? Chikuan paused. He's alright. Grandpa, what do you mean? Chitan, I was wrong before. Compared to Chibing, you're the young man of House Zhao. Don't be angry before. I'm impressed because he brought back a chi gathering pill. Chibing's eyes lit up as he spoke. You're right, Chibing. Old Master Zhao said. But now, you brought back a great recovery pill, and that's a third-level pill, so you two are even, so, Grandpa, you can't be saying. Chikuan jumped in shock as he looked at Old Master Zhao in disbelief. Could it be that Old Master Zhao's thinking had really changed? Chapter 29:20. He continued, oftentimes, as the head of a house, I have to think about the big picture. Before, I supported Zhao Chibing because of his contributions to the hidden house, and as the head of the house, I have to reward those who contribute to the house. I can't let them down. Otherwise, who would contribute to the house in the future? So, I supported Zhao Chibing. As for you, as Zhao Chibing's biggest competitor, I can only suppress you. But, I couldn't do something like killing you myself, so I could only lock you up. Chikuan nodded silently. He understood what old Zhao was saying. He was just angry before, wondering why Zhao Chibing could get the position. But after knowing Zhao Chibing's contributions, he just felt that he was unlucky. Grandpa, I understand all of that. Chikuan sighed. Yes, you understand all of that. Now, you brought back a third-level pill for the house, and your contributions are equal to Chibing's. I won't be biased towards Zhao Chibing anymore. You guys have the same starting point, so I'm more inclined towards you being the head of the house. Chitan, do you understand? Old Master Zhao said in a serious tone. Me? Chikuan was a bit dumbfounded. Why was old Zhao saying this all of a sudden? Hidden House Han, Hidden House Pai, Hidden House Zhuang, these houses. Hidden House Zhuang used to be much weaker than us, and Hidden House Pai was about the same strength as us, but these two are doing better than us now. Why is that? Old Zhao paused here before continuing. I'm sure you understand, Zhao Chikuan, that's because they've accepted Lin Yi as their boss, and so they've gotten a huge boost. So, Grandpa, you're saying. Chikuan finally understood, and was pleasantly surprised. His grandpa finally understood what Lin Yi was capable of, and he was finally ready to join Lin Yi's side. That's right. Old Zhao nodded affirmatively. Before, Grandpa thought that Lin Yi was a freelancer and didn't have much ability. And because of what happened with Zhao Chibing, we had some grudges with Lin Yi. Because of that, I never thought about the pros and cons of this matter. But now, it seems that you're the smarter one. He gave us, the hidden Zhao family, a way out. Chikuan was very happy to see his grandpa come back to his rights. He didn't know what to say. Grandpa. I just think that Boss Lin Yi treats me very well, and is very strong. He can protect me, so. Chikuan said. Yes, I know. You don't have to explain, you did the right thing, old Zhao said. It's just that Grandpa had some misunderstandings with Lin Yi before, and joining him like this is a bit sudden, and also, Grandpa's face. Grandpa, our family didn't really respect Lin Yi boss in the first place. Why are you still thinking about face at a time like this? Boss Lin Yi's follower has already risen to the ancient level, and it'll be too late for us to be reserve. Chikuan was panicking. Why was Grandpa still thinking about face at a time like this? Ah! All ancient sects. Old Zhao's heart skipped a beat as he probed. Even the ancient sects serve Lin Yi? Not really, just ancient-level disciples, Chikuan said truthfully, not hiding anything. He didn't know that old Zhao was trying to get information out of him. Chikuan didn't know that Tuoba Wang was representing the Yellow Soil High sects. After all, this involved Little Ju, and Lin Yi didn't tell him in detail. He only said it vaguely, so Chikuan didn't know. I see. Old Zhao pretended to be surprised, but breathed a sigh of relief inwardly. It was just a few disciples, so it wasn't a big deal, but if there were ancient sects joining Lin Yi, then it'd be really troublesome. At that time, even if he killed Lin Yi and the ancient sects came for revenge, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But it wasn't yet. Chikuan, what do you think I should do now? If you really want Lin Yi boss to protect our hidden house, I think you should have a banquet and apologize to boss Lin Yi, letting bygones be bygones, Chikuan suggested. You're right. Old Zhao was about to laugh out loud. Zhao Chikuan, don't you know that the older you are, the wiser you are? I've been waiting for you to say this, for you to say it yourself. Grandpa, does that mean you agree? Chikuan breathed a sigh of relief. If he called Lin Yi boss and he still put on airs, then Lin Yi wouldn't be happy. Even if he called House Zhao his little brother for his sake, he wouldn't feel good about it. But if old Zhao took the initiative to hold a banquet and apologize, then everything would be fine. Yeah, I'll listen to you, right? Old Zhao waved his hand. Here, I'll think about it and call a family meeting. I'll treat Lin Yi to a meal and confirm this relationship. All right, Grandpa, I'll go tell boss Lin Yi our decision right now. Chikuan said happily. Okay, go. Old Zhao said. I'll announce in a bit that you and Zhao Chibing's positions in the hidden house will be the same from now onwards. You'll both be the heir of the house. You know that I can't just take away Zhao Chibing's heir position all of a sudden. He contributed to the house, so it'll depend on your contributions. But, you have Lin Yi to protect you, so it shouldn't be a problem in the future. I understand, Grandpa. Chikuan said quickly. If old Zhao had just said that he'd take away Zhao Chibing and make Zhao Chikuan the heir, then Chikuan would have been confused and would have been exposed. But now, the more he said it, the more Chikuan felt that it was reasonable. After returning home, Lin Yi didn't even have time to talk to Mengyaro and Yushu about the interesting things that happened in the Sky Elixir sect's test before he was infuriated by a troublesome matter. These days, Tianli had been living like a drunkard, trying to get by as long as he could. He didn't report the company's matters to House Liu, and he didn't tell Fatty Lai and the others, either. Instead, he just smoked every day. Chapter 29-21. Although the company was already in debt, Tianli still had the money to pay for the drugs. The company and House Liu's cars could be sold for $1 million or so, and selling one would normally be enough for him to smoke for a while. However, Tianli's mouth had been sucked dry by the cigarettes from before, and he didn't feel anything for normal drugs at all, so he had to buy high-purity drugs to satisfy his craving. And that wasn't all. Tianli had been smoking a lot before, a couple packs a day, and that meant that he was inhaling a lot of drugs. So he had to replace it with simple drugs, and he needed a lot of it. Otherwise, Tianli wouldn't be satisfied. Moreover, Tianli felt that everything was over. The company was gone, and he also owed a huge debt to Lin Yi. He might as well just throw everything away, and live as freely as he could. However, this wasn't a situation where Tianli could do whatever he wanted. The business department, sales department, finance department, and purchasing department were all in an emergency. These days, the distributors were pressing for the goods furiously, because many of them had already paid for the goods, but they still couldn't get the goods. On the other hand, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was in an emergency as well. Not only that, but the profits from the drugs hadn't been transferred back to the company's account on time. Naturally, Fatty Lai called House Liu's company to ask what was going on. The bank's loans were quite large, and most of them were short-term loans. If Tianli hadn't returned the money by the deadline, the bank would naturally ask what was going on. If he still didn't return the money, they would confiscate the Liu's real estate according to the rules. All of these things were piled up on Tianli's desk, but he didn't reply to any of them. He locked himself in his office every day, smoking and not giving his subordinates a clear answer. All of a sudden, everyone in the company was panicking, not knowing what was going on, especially the important departments. Not only did they have to deal with the distributors, but they also had to deal with Fatty Lai and the bank. They were extremely busy every day. Fatty Lai and the bank called Tianli, but he didn't pick up, pretending that he wasn't there. As a result, rumors began to spread in the company. The so-called rumors were actually half true and half false. Especially Secretary Zhong, who knew the most. Seeing that the company was going downhill and that he could not get his salary and bonus, Secretary Zhong could only tell the company's director, deputy director, finance department, sales department, business department, and purchasing department the truth. He told them what he knew and guessed, so that they could respond as soon as possible. As for him, he was ready to resign. The company was riddled with holes. Under such circumstances, who would be stupid enough to stay here? The department manager who knew the truth would tell his close colleagues in the company, and soon, the whole company knew that Tianli was done for. And so, resignation letters flew everywhere, and everyone in the company left. Tianli wanted to hide it, but he couldn't. Because at this time, the bank had already gone to the Liu family to confiscate the real estate they had mortgaged. The Liu family's villa was one of them. When Zhanhu and Liu Tianyi were informed by the bank staff that Tianli hadn't repaid the loan on time, the villa had been seized. Both of them were dumbfounded. What? You're saying that this villa and the rest of the Liu family's real estate were all mortgaged by Tianli? Liu Tianyi looked at the bank staff in shock. He didn't interfere with House Liu's business, so naturally he didn't know what Tianli was doing. Could there be a mistake? Mr. Liu, we're just following the rules. This is the mortgage application with Mr. Tianli's signature, please take a look. If you don't believe it, you can call Mr. Tianli yourself. The bank staff smiled bitterly. House Liu was one of the common noble houses, and even if they weren't doing well right now, it wasn't something a small staff like him could mess with, so he spoke politely. Tianyi, there's no problem with these documents. It seems like it really is that bastard Tianli's doing. Zhanhu sighed as he looked at the mortgage application in the staff's hands. Dad, don't worry. I'll call Tianli right now and ask him what's going on. Liu Tianyi frowned as he dialed Tianli's number. Tianli met the bank staff in the company who were going to seize the skyscraper. He didn't say anything, but dismissed all the employees and walked out of the building alone, sitting quietly on the green belt in front of the building. He didn't even bother to explain, letting the bank staff seize the building. The people left in the company were all old people, most of them direct descendants of Liu Jinghan's generation. They were also the most loyal direct descendants, and none of them resigned. Instead, they stayed with Tianli until the end. But now, they didn't even have a place to work. Disappointment flashed in their eyes as they looked at the dispirited Tianli sitting in front of the green belt. Tianli was far, far worse than Liu Jinghan. Director Chen, what do we do now? Out of all these people, the one with the highest position in the company was Director Chen. His position in the company was second only to one and above tens of thousands of people. The chairman and CEO of the company was Liu Tianli, and the vice CEO was Liu Jinghan. But ever since she left, it was just a title. Only Director Chen was left. Eyes. Director Chen sighed helplessly. I'll give Miss Liu a call, although Liu Jinghan had already left, telling these people not to bother her anymore. Her job was done, and vice CEO was just a title forever. But Director Chen had no choice but to call Liu Jinghan now. The company was in too big of a crisis. Director Chen? Liu Jinghan had just parked her BMW when she received Director Chen's call. She was a bit surprised. Why was Director Chen calling her all of a sudden? Vice CEO Liu, it's me. Director Chen called Liu Jinghan as Vice CEO Liu because Tianli's surname was Liu as well. He could only add the word vice to Liu Jinghan's name. Otherwise, he would have left it out. What's the matter? Liu Jinghan asked curiously. Vice CEO Liu, the company is in trouble, Director Chen said urgently. Chapter 29-22. No, it's like this. Director Chen didn't know the truth either. Tianli was muddle-headed and didn't say anything. He could only guess from Secretary Zhong's words that Tianli had been scammed, and the company's money was gone. He didn't know the specifics and could only fill in the blanks with his own imagination. He then told Jinghan his guesses and deductions. When he talked about the company being seized by the bank, the usually calm Jinghan couldn't stay calm anymore. What? The company's building was seized. Just how much did my father borrow? What kind of business did he work with that Mr. Lang? Vice CEO Liu, I'm not too sure about that. I heard it was some kind of cigarette business, but Secretary Zhong isn't too sure either. Mr. Liu didn't tell anyone else because this business was discussed by Mr. Liu himself. He didn't go through us, Director Chen said. I understand. Keep an eye on my father and don't let him do anything stupid. I'll think of something else. Jinghan took a deep breath. She didn't think that such a big mess would happen when she wasn't home. Okay, Vice CEO Liu, Director Chen replied. Jinghan hung up and frowned as she fell into deep thought. At the same time, in Yangjing, the news of House Liu's failed investment spread like wildfire to everyone related to House Liu. House Liu had suffered a huge loss this time, losing more than 5 billion in capital and real estate. Not only did they lose all the money from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, they even lost all their money. The distributors called Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company over and over again, complaining about Liu Tianli, asking for a refund or supply of goods. But Fatty Lai only had a small portion of the medicine that hadn't left the warehouse yet. The new raw materials weren't sent over by Tianli, so Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company couldn't continue production. Plus, Fatty Lai didn't even have the money to give to the distributors even if he wanted a refund. All of a sudden, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company stopped production as well. Because of Tianli's influence, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's reputation plummeted. The truth of Liu Tianli's drug addiction couldn't be hidden from the observant people at all. Not long after Liu Tianli went bankrupt, the news spread again. Elder Zhanhu was shaking with rage. He never would have thought that Tianli would go and do drugs. Not only that, the company had already lost money, but he didn't even think of a way out. Instead, he sold his car and continued doing drugs. Unfilial son. You unfilial son. Zhanhu's body had recovered quite a bit after Lin Yi's treatment, but this time it pissed him off so much that he couldn't even get up from the wheelchair. Tianli knelt on the ground, his eyes sunken in, his expression wooden, ignoring Zhanhu's roar. It wasn't that he really ignored these things, but that he was still trapped in the illusion brought about by the drug addiction, so he didn't care about anything else around him. Father, please calm down. Brother is probably addicted to drugs right now. He can't hear anything we say. I think we should send him to a drug rehabilitation center and force him to detoxify. Liu Tianli noticed that something was wrong with Tianli. He knew Tianli well. He was a conservative person, and his company was a solid one. He always listened to his father, himself, and even Liu Jinghan when it came to family matters. He didn't have many ideas himself. This time, the situation was very special. Why did Tianli suddenly change into a different person, taking drugs and losing money? He's not your brother. Taking drugs, selling drugs, isn't this bringing glory to House Liu? Miracle Dr. Lin gave the medicine company to us, House Liu, to take care of it, and we ended up like this. How am I supposed to face Miracle Dr. Lin with my old face? Zhanhu was so angry that he was shaking. What Tianli had done was beyond what he could handle. Maybe he was tricked. Liu Tianli carefully tried to explain for Tianli. Tricked? He wouldn't have been tricked if he didn't have any greed in his heart. Zhanhu laughed coldly. Don't think I don't know what he's thinking. He's never approved of our cooperation with Miracle Dr. Lin, thinking that we're just relying on Lin Yi. If one day Lin Yi is done for, then House Liu will be done for as well. But because of you, me, and Jingjing's pressure, he could only do as we're told. But if there's a chance, he'll definitely want to turn the company into a business that can still operate without Lin Yi. That. Liu Tianli couldn't help but smile bitterly. But isn't he thinking for House Liu? There's something wrong with his thinking. Now that Lin Yi is doing fine, he's done for first. Zhanhu hemphed. If he was half as strong as Jingjing, the company wouldn't be like this. Yes. Tianli didn't have much else to say at this point, he just nodded. Tianli, Give Miracle Dr. Lin a call and tell him that House Liu has wronged him. Tianli and I will die to atone for our sins. My old face really can't face Lin Yi anymore. I don't have the face to live anymore. Zhenhu sighed as he made his decision. Father, how can you die? Liu Tianyi jumped, his eyes wide. If you die, what will happen to House Liu? I'll ask Mr. Lin Yi for mercy, we'll do anything to make it up to him. Doesn't House Liu still have you? Zhenhu shook his head. Do you think you can appease Miracle Dr. Lin's anger if you don't die? 5 billion isn't a small amount, and the impact this will have on Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company isn't something that can be calculated with money. Instead of living under Miracle Dr. Lin's oppression, why don't Tianli and I die to atone for our sins? Tianyi, you still have a chance to rise again, because you're the closest to Lin Yi. Tianyi fell silent after hearing Zhenhu's words. He was right. Even if Lin Yi were to let the Lius go for the sake of the past, he'd never trust and care for them like he did in the past. Even if Lin Yi didn't oppress House Liu, Lin Yi's followers and other noble houses wouldn't be able to guarantee that House Liu wouldn't be suppressed. When the time came, House Liu would never be able to rise again. Chapter 29-23. Father, Miracle Dr. Lin might not want you and brother to die, right? House Liu. Liu Tianyi said carefully. Don't say anything else, just ask Miracle Dr. Lin for his opinion. Just do as I say. Zhenhu waved his hand and said determinedly, I've made up my mind. Yes. Father. Liu Tianyi didn't dare say anything else. He nodded and called Lin Yi. Lin Yi had just gotten the news from Fatty Lai, and although he didn't show it, his face was extremely dark. Lin Yi never would have thought that Tianli would lose his company to drugs. That wasn't all, and the main point was that Tianli also lost the money from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. What was this guy thinking? Was he trying to defy the heavens? At that moment, Liu Tianyi called. Lin Yi took a look and picked it up, but his tone wasn't as nice as before. He said coldly, Mr. Liu, if you have something to say, just say it. Miracle Dr. Lin. I believe you already know about our Tianli's situation. Liu Tianyi's forehead was covered in cold sweat. As expected, Lin Yi's attitude wasn't as nice as before, and it made his heart go cold. I know, what do you want to do? Lin Yi was already pissed off to a certain degree. There was no way to lose money like this, was there? Even Chu Pengzhan had only lost his own money, but this Liu Tianli had lost Fatty Lai's money as well, and he still owed the distributors money and good. So, of course, Lin Yi didn't have a nice tone. Tianli's actions directly affected many of Lin Yi's plans, including the expansion of the medical company and the construction of Xiaoke's orphanage. Which one of these didn't need funds? I'm sorry, Miracle Dr. Lin. House Liu has betrayed your trust. My father said that he and Tianli will die as an apology. If you're not satisfied, I can. Liu Tianyi sighed. Forget about you and your father, it has nothing to do with you. But that Liu Tianli, I don't want to see him anymore. Lin Yi took a deep breath. He wasn't being cruel to the Liu family, but if these underling families didn't receive the corresponding punishment, then the other underling families would follow suit. In any case, if there was no punishment for their mistakes, then how could Lin Yi convince the public? So, even if Lin Yi was grateful for what House Liu had done for him, he couldn't let this go so easily. Just punishing Tianli alone was already giving House Liu a lot of face, and this was also because Liu Tianyi lent him money when he needed it. Yes. Thank you for your forgiveness, Mr. Lin. Tianyi sighed in relief. His father, Zhenhu, was fine, but Tianli, no one could save him now. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up first. Lin Yi was having a headache. He needed to talk to Fatty Lai about how to continue the company's business. They couldn't just stop like this. All right, Miracle Dr. Lin. Liu Tianyi hung up and turned to his father. Father, Mr. Lin only said that he doesn't want to see Tianli anymore. Tianli, don't see him if you don't want to see him, he deserved it. You know what to do now, right? Liu Zhenhu was a decisive man. He may have been angry, but Tianli's death still hurt him. There was nothing he could do about it. I understand. Liu Tianyi smiled bitterly and nodded. But, shouldn't we inform Jingjing about this? She, Zhenhu's eyes sharpened as he looked at Liu Tianyi. Don't worry about Jingjing's business, she has her own plans. Yes. Liu Tianyi nodded. Then I'll send Tianli to the detox center first. If he's going to go on his way, he should go on his way cleanly, shouldn't he? Zhenhu didn't deny it. Let's wait. Liu Tianyi sent Tianli to the detox center. He and Zhenhu, on the other hand, had a place to stay, but the noble houses that were close to them were all waiting for the wind. They didn't know what Linyi wanted, so no one dared to help. House Chen, House Wu, and House Sun didn't have much money and couldn't help with the company, but they could still help House Liu through this difficult time. But Linyi didn't say anything, so who dared to interfere? After putting down the phone, Linyi fell into deep thought. There was no point in being angry about this. What had already happened, and he had to think of a way to fix it. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was lacking funds, and once production resumed, House Liu's company would need to find someone to take over. All this time, House Liu had been in charge of the purchasing and sales channels of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. With House Liu's sudden collapse, Fatty Lai didn't have the contact information of the distributors and suppliers. He could find another supplier, but most of the distributors had paid a deposit. If he were to replace them all, it would cause dissatisfaction among the distributors, and he might even get sued. Fatty Lai had to be careful. What Lin Yi could solve was to borrow money from Pengzhan and the other noble houses and hidden houses, but there was too much of a gap this time. These hidden houses had a lot of money, but it wasn't realistic for them to take out such a huge amount of cash at once. Like the hidden house Han, they had quite a lot of treasures, but it was impossible to convert them into money all at once. Their family's expenses were fixed every year, and they wouldn't prepare too much. Lin Yi couldn't ask them to take out all their money for him, and they wouldn't be able to live. Moreover, even if they took out all their cash, it wouldn't be much. For the current Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, it was just a drop in the bucket. However, no matter what, it was better to resume production first. Even if the supply was a little less, it was better than directly stopping production. The sudden incident at the company had messed up Lin Yi's plans, and he was caught unprepared. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to study the refining of the jade space. After all, he had just reached the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, and Lin Yi couldn't wait to refine the jade space. There was another important thing, and that was to go to West Star Village and return to the cave. According to the introduction, when the stone door opened for the second time, after Lin Yi reached the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, he could open the third stone door, and he wouldn't have to abide by the 5-year promise.